Good morning. Welcome to Reach for Success 2022. I am Barbara Marbury, and I serve as the Bridge Programs Coordinator in the Center for Multicultural Academic Excellence in the Division of Equity and Inclusion on the University of Oregon campus. What that means is I have the privilege of helping middle and high school students explore and navigate the path to higher education. Today, our goal is to reinforce the idea that college is accessible, if that is your goal, and to highlight some of the very cool things that you could study, great extracurricular opportunities, resources to help you be successful, let you meet some really great UO college students, learn about their experiences, and some reflections on how they've been able to be successful college students. During our live stream event, you or your teacher will be able to ask questions via the Q&A chat. We have UO students and staff members ready to answer your questions. We will start off our campus visit with a stop at my favorite place on campus, the Center for Multicultural Academic Excellence. Many high school students often tell me they think going to college will be scary. Well, our goal in the CMAE is to take the scary out of going to college and to help you find all the resources you need to be successful. Here are three great colleagues to tell you a bit about what you'll find in the CMAE.
Hi, my name is Rosa Chavez, and I'm the director here at CMAE, the Center for Multicultural Academic Excellence. We also have a staff member who's not here with us today, and her name is Norma Trefferin, and she is a Native Retention Specialist, Multicultural Academic Counselor.
Hey y'all, I'm Stella Maria Kendayomi. I serve also here in the Center for Multicultural Academic Excellence as a Multicultural Academic Counselor, but also a Black Student Retention Specialist.
Hi everybody, my name is Sugam Singh. I'm also a Multicultural Academic Counselor at Center for Multicultural Academic Excellence, CMAE, and I'm also the Asian Desi Pacific Islander Retention Specialist here.
So why CMAE? Why should you come and see us? We provide services to students from the time they are exploring the U of O all the way to the time they graduate. And I'm going to let Sagam and Stella tell you a little bit more about some of the services we provide for students and why you should access our services.
I'm going to start with Sagam first.
Well, first and foremost, academics, how you're doing in your classes is a big important thing for us. So we want you to taking the right classes, the class that fits your schedule, that fits your interest. So we'll be helping you figure out your classes, what majors, if you are exploring your majors, or just any connections to professors or departments on campus. So think of us as a leap into the university life, which is vast and there's a lot of things going on. So we'll be your guide in terms of navigating campus and resources. And what are some of the resources on campus? Well, you have to come see and come talk to us to figure that out as well.
Sugam gave y'all a real good teaser. I'm actually going to tell you a few of our programming. So we have CMA Scholars. And so that's an opportunity for you to receive that academic support, advising support, but also find community resources. So we have a great library of books that you could check out, but also calculators, iClickers. When you find out what iClickers are, you're going to be so thankful that you know CMA has them. But also laptops, if we have them available, you can check that out. We also have opportunities for you to apply for scholarships. So we support the Diversity Excellence Scholarship, and we encourage all of you to apply for that when you're ready to apply for school here at the UO. And then cultural connections. So we all support the affinity groups and the ARCs. And ARCs are academic residential communities. So we encourage you to not only thrive and connect with us for academic reasons, but also for cultural connection. That's the new student fall retreat.
Yes, so that's a good reminder. So we have the new student fall retreat, which is been running for about 30 years here at the University of Oregon. And that's an opportunity for you as a new student, if you're coming in as a freshman or a transfer student, to connect with the staff here at the U of O. It's paid, it's a fun, free weekend from Friday to Sunday. And it's an opportunity to learn about the resources on campus, build community, connect, and have a lot of fun. We just want you to know there's a lot of information that we're sharing you with right now, but when you come to the University of Oregon, if you want to find that connection and that community and don't know where to go, we want you to think of us, and we'll help you connect and find that community and those resources on campus. And so we are open for you to take that dive in, as Sugam said, into the university and all of that it has to offer. We believe the UVO campus is absolutely 100% for you, and you should take up all the space you want and all the different locations and centers at the UVO, but we know that you may want to check in with us to find out where all those spaces are and all those resources. So we welcome you to come in and check us out and connect with us.
You'll hear folks will tell you to take up space. And that is an action phrase. And so that requires you to actually come to these different resources, resource centers, cultural centers, and ask for what you need. We cannot jump in your brain and know what you need and want. So we encourage you to, take that initiative. We are not monsters, so you can come and talk to us, and we all have different journeys in higher education. So we want to share that with you, but we also want to celebrate what it is that you want to contribute to the university.
And I want to add a little bit more on that about asking questions. It's very important. If you're beginning your freshman year, first term on campus, asking questions might be hard. It might seem difficult. You might feel judgment, but we want you to know, like, we are here to support you. We're here to help you guide and maybe figure out what the questions to ask, to whom to ask, and when to ask. So don't feel like you're only coming to us if you need something. Even if you don't need something, come talk to us, come hang out here. We have space where you can do your work, space where you can grab things like, we have like snacks, free printing. So there's a lot of different reasons for you to come and connect with us. But we want to make sure you're connecting not just with us, but all across campus, and we want to make it as easy for you to have that connection, because we know first term on campus can be difficult. Maybe making that change from high school to college can be nerve-wracking, but we want to make it as easy for you as possible, and to empower you to make those connections and move forward and be successful in your college journey.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Thank you to the great CMAE team for all the great information and advice. The most important takeaway is that you should always seek resources and build your student success team. And to get us started this morning, we're going to test your knowledge of college access with a little short trivia game. And we're going to give you, after each question, you'll have a few seconds that you can shout out your answers to your teachers, and they can try to put the answers in, and then we'll show you the answers. And again, I hope you enjoyed the conversation with our CMAE advisors. We call ourselves a home base. And if you don't know where to get started on campus, you can always start in the CMAE, and we'll get you where you need to go. And again, our whole goal is to take the scary out of going to college. We can help get you connected to resources, other student groups, other agencies on campus that are here to support you. And it's just a good way to make sure that you've got a solid ground and get your foot in the door and make good connections. And so again, our whole message is here, make sure you seek resources. Make sure you ask questions. Know that there are lots of places on campus to support you. Okay, so at this point, we're going to show you a few trivia questions. And you can put your answers in the Q&A. And if any time during our presentation, you can also ask questions in the Q&A, and we either have folks, I have my very trusty student program assistant, Teresa, is monitoring for questions, and she can either answer them in the chat or she'll give them to us and we'll answer them live. Okay, so first question, what percentage of UO students are from Oregon? Okay, if you guessed 52%, you were correct. How many undergraduate and minor areas of study are available to study at the UO? 50, 100, 200, 300. How many different areas of study are available at the U of O? The answer was D, 300. Okay, the next is a true or false question. Lisa, can you read that out loud? I can't see it.
Dreamers, undocumented, and mixed family students are able to receive money for college.
Okay, so are dreamers and undocumented students able to receive money for college? True or false? The answer is true. You'll hear more about that later. How can you earn college credit before entering college while you're still in high school? You can choose all that apply. We'll give you a little bit of time on this one. Take approved AP or IB courses. Take classes through College Now program. It's not possible. None of the above. Correct answers are A and B. You can take approved AP and IB courses, which you'll learn more about as you're getting ready for high school. And you can also take courses through the College Now classes. If you don't know about those, you'll ask your counselor when you get to high school or before you get to high school. True or false? You must have all A's and B's to be accepted to the University of Oregon. That is false. You must have at least a C average, but acceptance may be limited, may not be limited. The GPA standard is higher for that school year. May be limited if the GPA standard is higher for that school year. Which of these are ways to pay for college? Grants, loans, work study, university scholarships, Pathway Oregon, tuition equity, private scholarships, personal funds, all of the above. Correct answer is all of the above. How many students are currently at the University of Oregon? 15,300, 22,760, 19,122, 25,400. And the correct answer at the time this survey was done was 22,760. How many different student groups and organizations are there at the University of Oregon? 100, 200, 300, 400. Correct answer, 300 student groups and organizations at the UO campus. And again, this was at the time of this last survey. How many countries can you study abroad? In how many countries can you study abroad at the U of O? 25, 45, 50, 80. Correct answer is over 80 countries you can study abroad. And we actually have scholarships that will help you find financing for studying abroad. What was the nickname for the UO before they became the Ducks in 1947? Bring that one back. Whoops. Yeah, the nickname for the Ducks before they became the Ducks in 1947, the Chickens, the Tall Timbers, the Webfoots, the Cougars. Correct answer is the Webfoot, before we became the Ducks. I don't know about you, but I'm glad we changed the name. Okay, true or false? The UO is the only university to have a Disney character as our mascot. And the answer is true. In 1947, the UO shook hands with Disney in an agreement to use Donald Duck as our sports mascot. Okay, well, we hope you enjoyed that little bit of trivia. And at this time, we want to talk to you a little bit more about college access. So joining me today is Richard Clare, who is a University of Oregon admissions counselor. And he is the expert on what it takes to get into the University of Oregon, we're also going to try to just give you a general overview of what it takes to get into college. And again, our goal today is take the scary out of getting into college. For those of you who might think that, college is not accessible for you, we want to show you that college is accessible. So I'd like to welcome Richard Clare from University of Oregon Admissions. And Richard, would you share a little bit about yourself and then a little bit about your journey into higher education?
Thank you. It's a privilege to be here today. I have a unique journey into higher education. When I was in undergrad pursuing a psychology degree, I was a psych pre-med major, and I was really exploring going into becoming a nurse practitioner. And I had the opportunity to shadow my uncle, who was a practicing physician. He was a family medicine internist in my last year of my undergrad degree, and really was able to determine that this was not a good fit for me. It was a lot of the non-compliance. So I've always been, active working with youth ministry, mentoring youth throughout high school. So I had decided to pursue a humanities-based master's degree, particularly in, theology and religion. So I took a year to do some self-study at a private Christian liberal arts institution in Indiana. And during that time, when I would be in the student center studying, having some coffee, I would see the admissions counselors all dressed up on what was then called the visit days. And I was like, I think I could do this. I have experience of working with youth, engaging youth. And that was always something that inspired me. So I expressed interest in, an admissions counselor role as I was preparing to enter graduate school, and met with the director of admissions at the time. And they took me out to lunch. We had a great conversation, and an opportunity came up later that year. I applied and I began my higher education careers admissions counselor at a small Christian liberal arts institution. And now I have the opportunity to represent the University of Oregon. So it's a unique opportunity to work with youth and their families to help them navigate this college search process, to help them understand what it takes to first access higher education, and to have the confidence and the social capital to be able to access a high quality education, particularly at the University of Oregon.
Thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. And so what you will hear today is that there are a lot of people that are passionate about helping students gain access to higher education. And in our case in particular, we're very passionate about helping underrepresented students understand that college is accessible and help you figure out the ways to do that. My own story is that I was a very good student in high school, but I never thought I'd be able to go to college because I didn't think that we'd have the money. And it was thanks to great counselors like the ones that are working with you all and making this event accessible to you that helped me find the way to go to college and understand that it was accessible, and helped me to figure out what I needed to do to prepare for college and then actually get there. So Richard, thank you so much for that. And we have said in our quiz that you don't necessarily have to be a straight A student to get into college, but what do admissions counselors look for when deciding to admit a student to the U of O?
Great question to start off our program today. I think one of the things that we look for is consistency. We look for context, and we look for grade trends. And what I mean by consistency is, has a student perform at a consistent level of above average while completing their high school requirements? And those are typically 4 years of English, 3 years of math, 3 years of science, 3 years of social science. And we like to see 2 years of the same foreign language if it's available at your high school. So having, performing at the AB level, those are all, great things that prepare a student to be successful, and it demonstrates their academic preparedness to be successful in college. However, when I say context, there are sometimes students who have experiences that negatively impact their academic performance. So having that context, and that can be through a letter of recommendation, that can be through your personal statement, prompt responses on your application of how you were impacted early in high school. And having that context will help us to determine that, okay, this student struggled a little bit in their first and second year of high school, but that grade trend, that upward grade trend, is a positive indicator that they were resilient and they were able to kind of rebound, as we like to say, by earning those A's and B's. So yes, we do look for, high achieving grades such as A's and B's on the student's academic record, but having that context and those grade trends we take into consideration through what we call a holistic review. So in addition to those grade trends, we like to see kind of like a core academic requirements. At the University of Oregon, we want to see, again, students complete 4 years of English, 3 years of math, 3 years of science, 3 years of social science, and 2 years of the same foreign language. Those are our core academic requirements. But beyond that, we want students to really challenge themselves by taking more advanced level coursework using their elective coursework. So we mentioned it earlier, if a student's high school offers advanced placement or AP, or maybe your high school is an international baccalaureate school, IB, you're pursuing an IB diploma, or you're pursuing more advanced level coursework through dual enrollment, like the College Now program. Some schools call it Running Start. That's a particular in the geographical area where I recruit. Early College Now, whatever those programs are called, really take advantage of those programs as well. And that's a great way to earn college credit.
Thank you. And so for our middle school audience that we have today, what kind of things would you suggest that they start doing to prepare for, when they're going to high school, but what kind of things should they start doing now?
I think the first thing I would encourage our middle schoolers with this today is to know that you can access a higher education. You can access college. Having that mindset will inspire you going into high school. And another thing I would say is really take advantage of programs like this, these college readiness programs. A lot of communities throughout the state of Oregon have some form of nonprofit organizations that work with local school districts to ensure that students have the knowledge to be able to navigate the college search process. So I know you're going to be, some of you are in 7th or 8th grade and you're going to be transitioning to 8th grade or 9th grade, and you don't think that this information is important. It is, because a lot of times we work with what we call first generation families, where the parent or the parents have not navigated the college search process. So they don't have the knowledge to be able to navigate this process of what is a campus visit, what type of scholarship opportunities, what is the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. So a lot of these programs, Reach for Success, we equip families with the tools and resources to have that knowledge. So come your senior year, you'll know how to navigate the process and to have that conversation with your guidance counselor. These are the institutions that I'm interested in, and I'm aware that these institutions offer these scholarships. Will you be able to write a letter of recommendation for me, and so forth?
Thank you. And just to add my 2 cents on what you can do now to start preparing is, I always tell students, start keeping a journal of all the things that you are participating in, because when you get into high school, and especially when it gets to be time for, as you're a senior and it's time to start filling out all these applications and applying for scholarships and college admission, you won't remember most of the things that you've done. And I say 7th and 8th grade is never too early to start keeping track of what you're doing. So if you have extracurricular activities, clubs, sports, if you're helping out at home with siblings, if you're helping your neighbors, if you do volunteer work, keep a journal of all these things, because you need to write down what it is you did, how much time did you put into it? Because again, this helps create this well-rounded picture. This helps us know that you have a long commitment to your own success and also helping in the community, because again, they're looking for a well-rounded person. So you can have straight A's, but if you've never done anything but study, then they can't get a picture of what kind of student are you going to be and how are you going to contribute to the university community. So I say keep a journal, and then when it's time to start writing those essays, you can go back and talk about what you've done and give a complete picture of yourself. So that's my little tidbit for what you can start doing while you're in middle school.
I also like to add, for students who are transitioning into high school, our 8th graders, you can create a profile through the Coalition platform. It doesn't mean that you're going to be applying to college as a freshman in high school, but the Coalition application platform allows students to really add those activities and those accolades to what we call like a locker within this particular platform. So come senior year, if a student elects to apply to schools that are members of the Coalition platform, which the University of Oregon is a member, you'll already have all of this accumulated in one space in digital format. And it allows just for students to really share that with the institutions that they're considering. This is also important, students, because a lot of scholarships are not only based on academic merit, but they're based on those extracurricular involvement and activities. As Ms. Barbara mentioned, what is your impact in your high school and your local community? All of those things that we take in consideration as well at the University of Oregon. And we call those non-academic factors when we conduct the holistic review of a student's application.
Thank you. And how would a student go about finding this Coalition application?
It's very simple. You can just do a quick Google search of Coalition app. A lot of times, nonprofit organizations or community-based organizations, they partner with the Coalition application or their local four-year university and they do some type of outreach programming to help students understand how they can create this profile, helping them understand like essay writing workshops so they'll get access to it early. But this summer for our 8th graders, they can go in and create a profile as they're transitioning to high school.
That's great to know. I didn't even know about that myself. Okay, so that's awesome. So again, what you're hearing is there's an opportunity for you to go out there and already get your information out there. I also always encourage students while you're in middle school, start looking up, and we'll talk more about opportunities for finding money. But actually, this is an opportunity for you to go out there and start practicing, start looking for what people are asking you. What kind of questions are you going to need to be able to answer so that when it's your turn, you'll be able to answer those questions and really give a good picture of yourself. But before we go more into that area, Richard, what kind of resources would you suggest that students start to seek out while they're in middle school?
Yeah, surprisingly, I encourage students to, if there's programs or resources that they're aware of and they're not, start thinking about what are some of your long-term interests. And that could be academic interests or career interests. So you're at a stage of life where it's like, I want to be a physician. Well, I like to encourage students, remind them that the healthcare field is so multifaceted. And there are a lot of programs, even for middle schools, that expose you to the health sciences, as we say. And there's funding for students to take advantage of these programs. So if you wanted to go to a summer program, let's say at a university in the Midwest, coming from the Pacific Northwest, they offer those type of opportunities to students. So it gives them the opportunity to do that career exploration to help them to determine, you know what, I think I want to be a physician, or I want to become a pharmacist, or I want to become a nurse practitioner or a medical social worker, to name a few. These experiences, even for middle schoolers, allow you to really do that exploration. So as you transition into high school, the summer between your freshman and sophomore year, really start seeking out these summer engagement or summer enrichment programs, because one, it looks positive on your application when you're applying to college, but it gives you this opportunity to do some academic enrichment, but also career exploration. So that will be one resource I would encourage students to really start taking advantage of. Another resource would be, maybe you have a family friend who knows your parents well and for a long time, and they are in an industry that you are interested in. Maybe you want to become a lawyer, or maybe you want to become a writer or an editor. Just start asking them questions of, like, what was your career path to become an editor or a lawyer, as an example. And the last piece of advice I want you all to take away from today is to know that there's no direct path to where you want to get in life. I thought I was going to be a physician, working with youth, and here I am working in higher education, not as a physician, but I ended up, taking that career path of working with young people and their families. So just understand that, embrace all of the challenges of high school, embrace all of the unique opportunities that's going to be afforded to you, because as Ms. Barbara mentioned, it's going to make you a well-rounded student as you prepare for college.
Thank you. And I'll just echo what Richard said, that just take advantage of opportunities. My favorite thing is volunteering. And if you can get someone to allow you to shadow them or volunteer in an organization, so that you can get a better idea of what this job actually looks like, or what people are doing in the community. Many students are interested in public service or community service or social justice. And so look at organizations that are doing what you think you might want to be doing, and find out if there are volunteer opportunities or opportunities just to shadow. And again, don't forget to record these things when you do these things. So there's a lot of things you can do to get prepared. So thank you for that. So we mentioned a little bit in the quiz about earning college credit while in high school. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, earning college credit is one of those aspects of advanced coursework in high school. Now, I know, unfortunately, there are some high schools throughout the state that may not offer what we call advanced level coursework, where students earn that college credit, and that's okay. And it doesn't mean that a student won't be a competitive applicant when applying to University of Oregon or there are other institutions that they may be considering. The most important factor is, if your high school offers advanced level coursework, I would encourage you to take advantage of those opportunities, because it's going to give you that rigor to help ensure that you have the academic preparedness to be successful at an institution like the University of Oregon and other institutions that you may be considering. Now, this is my big brother advice. I see it quite often where students think that there's this perception that I have to take as many AP or IB or dual enrollment courses as possible. That is not true, because what we've seen is, by the time students get to senior year, they're burnt out and they're taking like 6 AP classes, and you end up, earning low performing grades, and that definitely doesn't show display a positive indicator when you're applying to schools and you earn low performing grades in your 7th semester of high school, which would be your fall semester of senior year. So it's very imperative that you work with your guidance counselor so you can have a balance of maybe start taking advanced placement coursework, IB or dual enrollment courses through the College Now program beginning your sophomore year or junior year, while ensuring that you're meeting high school requirements, but you're setting yourself up for academic success. Especially given the times in which we're transitioning out of this global pandemic, there are so many factors that have impacted a student's personal well-being. And then that in turn, by default, impacts their academic, performance. So as we transition into what seems like a sense of normalcy, work with your guidance counselors as you transition to high school to ensure that you have a balance of that advanced level coursework.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
So I would ask you, what would be right now your best piece of advice for middle school students?
For our 8th graders, in particular, enjoy this transition, from going from middle school to high school. It's going to be an exciting experience. But I would say establish, habits that's going to ensure your academic and personal success in high school. And that could be ensuring that you are surrounding yourself with people who have similar interests and goals as you. And that can be getting involved with extracurricular activities. And they could be similar to what you were involved with in middle school, but they could be also different because high school presents more opportunities for extracurricular involvement. So seek out those opportunities as well. But the most important thing is understand, middle schoolers, that the academic roadmap that you're going to start as a freshman could be beneficial to you or can be detrimental to you come senior year. So what that means is if you kind of like, you enter high school and you're really not dedicated to your grades and you end up getting maybe some C's and D's or possibly, F's in some of those freshman, sophomore year courses, you're going to find that you're repeating those courses as juniors and seniors. And it doesn't make you a competitive applicant and it doesn't make you competitive for merit-based scholarships. So just, get involved and then understand and be committed to that academic roadmap that you're going to create so you can be a competitive applicant to college.
Thank you. And so I think what you're going to hear over and over today is that see yourself in college. Again, our message is see yourself in college. And hopefully this will inspire you to do the best you can. Know that you don't have to be perfect, but we want you to be a well-rounded student. We just want you to know that you can do it and to do your best. One of the reasons, as we mentioned earlier, that some students are just not motivated because they think that they can't afford college. Now, neither one of us are financial aid experts, but we do have an entire department here that is dedicated to financial aid and helping students find scholarships and grants. And if you look on our website, for example, you will see many of the University of Oregon scholarships, and you will also see a section that says other. And these are scholarships that are outside of the University of Oregon and they can be used anywhere. And I encourage middle school students to start looking at those scholarship applications right now, because you can start seeing what kind of questions are they asking? What kind of essays do you need to write? And you can start getting help with practicing your writing, get people to read your essays, learn how to talk about yourself, because the biggest downfall for many students is that they don't want to talk about themselves. They don't know how to use all of the spaces on the applications to talk about yourself. You may have a limit of 500 words for an essay, but there are so many spaces that I call free real estate. So if they ask you about your extracurricular activities or volunteer opportunities, don't just say Boys and Girls Club, 2021, 2022. Right? What did you do? What did you learn? What were your responsibilities? Use that space to talk about yourself. Richard, do you have a little bit of information about some of the ways to find financial aid resources?
Well, as our middle schools transition to high school, it's not uncommon for them to often get part-time jobs. And I know that a lot of employers offer tuition assistant programs. So that could be an option. Maybe talk with your parents or your family who's supporting you as you begin this college search process in high school. Of maybe their jobs offer some type of tuition assistant program. And here at the University of Oregon, we offer a robust scholarship and financial aid program for Oregonians. And as we mentioned, Pathway Oregon is one. Minimum GPA for 3.4, high school GPA. There are certain financial aid eligibility requirements, but we also offer merit-based scholarships as well. And those are based on academic merit, meaning your high school GPA. We don't require test scores. So if a student is applying for freshman admission, you don't have to worry about submitting official SAT or ACT scores. FastWeb is another great website for students to identify scholarship opportunities. Ask your guidance counselor. I know I often see the counseling offices, they actually have a book or they have some type of resource on their webpage for students to access scholarships within their local community and throughout the state. So I think it goes back, students, to asking questions, tapping into those resources, because you don't know what you don't know if you don't ask. So it's very important to ask those questions, take advantage of people who are supporting you through this process, like through the Reach for Success program.
And so one of the things I really want to emphasize, since our audience today are Oregonians, Oregon students who will be attending Oregon high schools, Pathway Oregon, if you haven't heard about it, you should hear about it. Pathway Oregon, as Richard mentioned, if you have a 3.4 GPA, you graduate from an Oregon high school and you are what's called Pell Grant eligible. And when you fill out your FAFSA, that will tell you if you are Pell Grant eligible. If you meet all those criteria, you are automatically eligible for Pathway Oregon, which pays your tuition and fees. It doesn't pay your housing, but it pays tuition and fees, and you don't even have to apply for it. So that's just a goal to keep in mind. If you can meet those requirements, you are automatically Pathway Oregon eligible. Richard mentioned FastWeb. I also love scholarship.com, I believe it is, but if you look on the website, you'll see several legitimate sites. But what I love to tell students is that there is a scholarship out there for everything. And this is why I encourage you to start looking now, just so you can see what's out there. A lot of scholarships are academic merit-based. Some are financial need-based. But there are scholarships out there for centered around things like your interests, your hobbies, your identities. And so research those scholarships on those websites. You can put in anything based on your identity. You can put in hobbies. What you'll find is that people endow scholarships in the memory of loved ones. And so one of my favorite stories I love to share is that our Associate Director for Financial Aid received $5,000 for being tall. And yes, there are scholarships for left-handed people, short people, people who like the color purple, people who are interested in motorcycles, people who volunteer with children's agencies. So just for the fun of it, go out there on the websites and check out what's out there and start learning again what kind of questions that they might ask to apply for these scholarships. For Oregon students, you'll be looking at not only on these websites, but as Richard mentioned, OSAC. That is forget what it stands for right now, but it's just for Oregonians, for students. Again, they will also have a whole host of websites. I also tell families to check out parents, check with your jobs, your banks, your religious institutions, your clubs, and find out if they're offering scholarships. Students, if you have a job, ask your employer if they have scholarships. One of my students' assistants got a scholarship from Pizza Hut because they worked at Pizza Hut. I know places like Home Depot and now even Walmart, they give scholarships to students. So always, even if it's not advertised, ask what's out here. So if you're not hearing my message, there is a way to find money to go to school if that's the thing that's hindering you from thinking about being eligible for college. And so I think, again, our message today is just see yourself. I guess, Richard, I would have to ask as far as what are some of the other things that you share with students about opportunities when they come to college, particularly the U of O, but what other things can you do besides study at the U of O?
I think it's important for students to know that your undergraduate degree is just one aspect of your college experience. Getting involved through student clubs, organizations, volunteering. If you're a student who has this demonstrated leadership or you love to volunteer and really have an impact within your local community, Within the building that we're currently sitting in, we have the Holden Center for Leadership and Community Engagement. This provides programs and resources for our students to cultivate their leadership skills as an undergraduate student through formal programming and peer coaching and one-on-one. And you'll have the opportunity to explore various topics and to identify areas in which you would like to grow and develop as an undergraduate student. My biggest is study abroad. If you want to go see the world, our Global Education Oregon office affords our students so many opportunities, and we provide funding for students to take advantage of studying abroad. And that could be going to Spain to really, have that intercultural immersion experience, to cultivate your language skills, or maybe you have an interest in beginning your professional career working in a foreign country. Study abroad affords our students to do that. We're big on research at the University of Oregon. And I know you're probably thinking, well, I don't want to be in a lab conducting experiments all day. Well, one of the beautiful things about the University of Oregon is our faculty conduct research across all academic disciplines, even in the College of Education, in the School of Music and Dance, in our Lundquist College of Business. So that contributes to the excellence of the University of Oregon. And one of the beautiful things about that is our students partner with faculty and they contribute to their research. So take advantage of research opportunities, internships. One of the things about our employers that work with our University Career Center is that they like to see students have the skill set, but also the professional experience through internships and fellowships. So take advantage of those unique opportunities, and it's really going to enhance your undergraduate experience here at the University of Oregon, but just in college in general.
Thank you. Thank you. And you've heard me say that at the CMAE, one of the things we strive to do is take the scary out of going to college. And not only in the CMAE, but our campus partners, we like to create what we call a village. What services do students need in order to be successful, to find their resources? And so we partner with places like the Dean of Students Office, which has many services for students, even things like emergency funds. They house many of they are responsible for many of the organizations in the student union. They are our PE. We have an amazing recreation center, and believe it or not, we consider all of those things to be part of a student's well-being. We have an accessible education center on campus that if you have an accommodation or need an accommodation for your particular learning style, then we work closely with our partners in AAC to make sure that you receive the accommodations that you need to be successful in your classes. We work closely with our counseling center and our health center because we understand that physical health and mental health is also key and crucial to a student's success on campus. We partner with just so many departments on campus that are here in our libraries, which you'll hear more about our libraries later. We have a tutoring and engagement center, and that's where you can go and get tutoring on a number of subjects. I think you heard mentioned that in the CMAE, we also offer free tutoring in math, writing, and science. We have a sustainability center on campus that deals with food insecurity. If a student just at the end of paying for everything and they just don't have enough money for food and their meal plan is run out, we actually have a center where students can go and get extra food. You heard me mention that Dean of Students has emergency services available, that if you're having trouble with housing or you just having a family emergency and then you just need need a little bit of help with funds. So just know that there are so many places on campus to find support if you ask those questions. And again, if you don't know where to start, you can start in CMAE and you can find out, where do I go to get these resources? But key message is that you don't have to come and do it all by yourself. You can just ask the question and somebody will point you. And if you don't get an answer the first time, then ask somebody else. But just know that we have a lot of resources here. Richard, was there something you'd like to add for our audience?
No, this is just a wonderful opportunity to engage you all. just continue to stay encouraged and do well in school. And I guess my other big brother advice is respect each other, respect authority. There's going to be people who want to pour into your lives to ensure that you're going to be successful. So that would be my takeaway for you all today. So I thank you for the opportunity to share with the wonderful students with us.
Thank you. And just know that if you have questions after today that you didn't put in the chat, feel free to send your questions into cmae@uoregon.edu. And if we don't have the answer to your question, we will forward it on to those. Sorry, I don't have a slide for that, but cmae@uoregon.edu. And we will get you the answers to your questions. Don't know if we've had any questions come into the chat. Okay, but feel free to send those in later. And so, yes. Okay, and I think we mentioned I think we mentioned most of our services that we offer in the CMAE, but the very first week of school, we do a new student fall retreat. I believe Sugan mentioned that. It is a wonderful way for students to meet other students. It's led by students who have been in the program themselves. You get to find out about resources, and it's all about empowerment. Free tutoring in math, writing, and science. Yes, we give out snacks to make sure that you've got energy for your classes, study spaces, use of computers, and again, connections with all of our campus partners. So with that part, we are just wanting you to know that there are lots of resources. Take away the message that there's lots of resources for you to be successful. So we are just a little bit ahead of schedule. So we will take a slight break here. And then when we come back, we're going to take you on a tour of the University of Oregon campus.
Welcome everyone to the University of Oregon. I'm your host, Alex Boylan, and I'm thrilled to show you this gorgeous campus and talk to some real students about their unique experiences, aspirations, and involvement right here. I'm standing inside the UO's amazing Student Welcome Center. The UO is a large public research university home to 22,000 students and located in Eugene, Oregon. UO is smack in the center of the city, but this campus is flush with green, surrounded by trees, and has the beautiful Willamette River running right through it. The UO has the resources needed to prepare its students for almost any career path they choose. So without further ado, let's uncover what makes the UO such an extraordinary university, and let's hear why so many ducks have love for their nest. This is going to be a very special episode, everyone. Welcome to the University of Oregon. This is the College Tour. Let's get to it. You all ready? Now let's meet Piper. She's a senior studying biology and chemistry. Piper conducts research on campus and is excited to tell us about the many opportunities she found in the UO's stellar science programs. You're up, Piper.
Thanks for that introduction. I grew up just an hour and a half away from Eugene, and my older brother attended UO. When I came to visit him, I was immediately welcomed into the warm community and impressed by the amazing facilities they had for my field of interest. After receiving an incredible scholarship, I was sold. What really impressed me was the research facilities they had for the natural sciences, which is what I knew I wanted to study. I was able to get involved into research early on during my freshman year in the Bradshaw Holzapfel Lab in the Institute of Ecology and Evolution. Since then, I've been exposed to groundbreaking research, and I'm currently working on my thesis, which focuses on the existence of cryptic ancestral genes affecting a mosquito's ability to bite. I'm looking forward to finishing up data collection and defending my thesis later on this winter. Through the Career Center, I was able to find a summer internship where I had the opportunity to shadow surgeons and conduct clinical research. As a result, I'm now a published author in a peer-reviewed medical journal. And outside of the natural sciences, I've branched out to become president of a hip-hop club. University of Oregon is a member of the Association of American Universities, one of only 2 in the Pacific Northwest, which is a testament to the strength and value of research occurring here. Additionally, any student can get involved in research, not just those in the natural sciences. The opportunities in the natural sciences that UO provides prepare students for a career of their choosing after graduation. As I reflect back on my time here in preparation for applying to medical school, I'm grateful for all that UO has provided me in these past 3 years. That's my story, so back to you, Alex.
Piper, thank you. That was amazing. It's great you've been able to get hands-on experience doing research at the UO. I've had my fair share of mosquito bites racing around the world and now have a whole new respect for those bugs. It's inspiring to hear all you've accomplished in such a short amount of time. Sounds like you are set for the future. Take care. Next up, we've got Gemma. Gemma is a senior studying social science teaching and Black studies. She's excited to talk about her time mentoring students through orientation programs and how she's prepared herself for her dream career. Take it away, Gemma.
Thanks for the intro, Alex. Growing up, I always knew I wanted to help people, but was never really sure how. It wasn't until I experienced firsthand the impact that teachers can have in students' lives that I decided to pursue education. Currently, I'm studying general social science teaching and Black studies here at the U of O. Through my amazing student leadership opportunities here with student orientation programs, I've had the ability to both meet and mentor incoming students. As a first-generation student of color, I know how scary this transition can be, but the university has so many amazing resources to help you navigate your college experience. Through the various academic advising and career centers here on campus, you can meet with both staff and student peers to help map out your academic plan with focus on your career aspirations after graduation. Being able to use my first-hand experience to ease the worries of incoming students and their families/supporters has given me so many amazing skills that I'll be able to use in and out of the classroom. Not only have I been able to really focus on facilitating and supporting students, but also my public speaking and overall confidence as a leader here at the UO. And I've been able to incorporate some fun along the way as well. I'm currently a part of Divisi, which is the Women's Identified A Cappella group here on campus, and I've also been a part of the UO Women's Rugby team. There's a little bit of everything here on campus. No matter what you're interested in, you'll be able to find it here at the U of O. My time working with incoming students has definitely helped me get ready for my career in the classroom. Thanks for hanging out with me, everyone. Back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Gemma. It's great to see that the help you give incoming students also gives you the experience you need for your future as a teacher. All students, by the way, have access to mentors like Gemma, as well as professional staff for career and academic advising on campus, and even a whole building dedicated to those services, the very one where Gemma was joining us from today. Thanks again, Gemma. Okay, everyone, let's meet Jonah. He is a senior studying public relations and sports business and is coming to us today from the Many Nations Longhouse, where many of the UO's Native American community gather. The University of Oregon is located on the Kalapuya Ilahi, the traditional homelands of the Kalapuya people. Today, Jonah will be discussing diversity at the UO and the Center for Multicultural Academic Excellence. You're on, Jonah.
Alex, you're the man. Thank you so much. Growing up in Eugene with limited resources, college wasn't really in the books for me. But after receiving multiple scholarships from the University of Oregon, I've been able to explore all opportunities that have come my way on this campus. And one of those big opportunities for me has been becoming the president of the only multicultural fraternity on this campus. 8-6. And as president, one of my main focuses has been meeting the needs of my community in various efforts with my brothers. And on top of that, something that's very important to us is brotherhood and creating a sense of belonging, which is something I wasn't sure I was going to be able to find on this campus. But the university has plenty of organizations, resources, and programs where you'll be able to find your own space. A great resource me and my friends use is the CMAE, the Center for Multicultural Academic Excellence, who promotes student retention and persistence for historically underrepresented and underserved populations in our community. And outside of academics, you can engage with one of our 6 multicultural centers or join one of our 25 diverse student unions that we have here on campus. College education is more than just learning skills for a job. Being able to connect with others and stay involved on campus is key. And being on campus, unique opportunities are always falling into your lap. Like you could be a reporter for our very own Duck TV, or you could spin this as a DJ in the radio station under the EMU. Personally though, I like to take my bike down 13th and poke around the bike path around Odson to clear my head and view all the beautiful nature that this campus has to offer. Imagining yourself where you want to be before you actually arrive is how to be successful, but being at a place that encourages that imagination is just as important. And for me, the university has given me the tools to spark that imagination in myself. And on that note, back to you, Alex.
Well said, Jonah. The UO community continues to grow, and the UO is providing a lot of opportunities and resources to ensure students feel included. With 6 multicultural centers and 25 diverse student unions, it sounds like all Ducks have great spaces to connect. Love to see it, and thanks for sharing your story. Now let's check in with Audrey. Audrey is a senior studying human physiology with minors in chemistry and business administration. Audrey loves to stay active and explore the outdoors, and she's eager to share how she fulfills these passions at the UO. Take us on an adventure, Audrey.
Thanks so much, Alex. Growing up in Oregon, so much of my childhood was spent exploring the outdoors and constantly staying active. I knew that when I was picking a college, I really wanted to keep these 2 things in mind. I also had a love for science and the human body, which led me to study human physiology and become a teaching assistant in the cadaver lab. When I first came to campus, I also joined the club soccer team. I like to think of club sports as the perfect median point between intramural and Division I soccer. I've been playing soccer since I was 5, so knowing that I could continue to play at U of O persuaded me to go even more. Right in the middle of campus, you'll find the Student Rec Center. I love staying active by attending cycling and yoga classes, using the equipment, or just hanging out in the hot tub. And for those days when I really want to de-stress and unwind, I'll go to the Duck Nest. And just a mile off campus near Otson Stadium, you can find Pre's Running Trail. I often will grab a friend and go for a run or rent a Peace Health bike and explore the many miles of trails that run along the Willamette River. And just a quick 15-minute drive from campus is this spot right here, Spencer Butte. I love hiking up all the way up to the top and seeing the full city of Eugene. This is a hike that's done by so many ducks, and I'm sure you'll meet many cute canine friends along the way. And for all my winter sports lovers out there, don't worry, the U of O has got you covered. Through the outdoor program, students can get discounted lift tickets and rides up to the mountain. We're also able to rent snowboards, camping gear, and kayaks to fulfill all our outdoor adventures any season of the year. In my last year as a Duck, I hope I'm able to make some lifelong memories, and I'll be forever thankful that I picked this school. No matter where you end up, make sure you're always getting outside every day and being active, and as always, go Ducks. Back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Audrey. Seems like there's something for every athlete and adventurer to enjoy at the Student Rec Center or through the outdoor program. I might have to lace up my hiking boots and check out some of those trails myself. Sounds exhilarating. Up next is Natasha. She's a senior studying public relations with a minor in sports business. Natasha is a huge sports fan, and she is here to tell you about athletics on the UO campus. She's at Hayward Field, one of the world's finest track and field venues and the birthplace of Nike innovation. Natasha, ready, set, go.
Thanks, Alex. What's up, y'all? I've been a huge sports fan my entire life. I knew I absolutely had to attend a college with great teams and an amazing sports atmosphere. I knew the University of Oregon would be exciting to attend as a fan, but also as a student hoping to work in the sports industry. UO is constantly ranked one of the best in the nation in football, men's and women's basketball, track and field, and softball, just to name a few. Every sporting event is an opportunity for fun, lifelong memories. I'm an intern with our athletic department, where I gain firsthand experience in sports operations. Our nationally recognized teams provide us the opportunity to work behind the scenes and support our athletic programs. UO has world-class facilities and uniforms for every sport. Our wide range of sports success gives us an entire year packed with incredible games and events. At Oregon, you not only have the greatest excitement as a fan, but you also learn from unique sports internships that can only happen here. The University of Oregon is the place to be for college sports. Whether I'm walking across the bridge to Autzen for a football game, or I'm working the Olympic trials at Hayward Field with my fellow interns, there is always sports to see and Ducks to cheer on. Oregon athletics are by far one of the best in the country. Our Ducks find success in numerous sports and give us the greatest year-round fan experience. I've been able to further my interest in sports and explore new career paths while working for our exceptional athletic programs. The University of Oregon is the place to be for every game day for any sport. Go Ducks! Back to you, Alex.
Natasha, that was great. I'm glad sports lovers like you get to have fun rooting for the Ducks and finding careers in athletics. I'll definitely have to check out the next big game on campus. The student athletes are knocking it out of the park here. That was fantastic. All right, everyone, now let's meet Gabby. She's a junior studying business administration with a concentration in marketing and a minor in Spanish. Gabby, you are on.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, everyone. When searching for colleges, I had no idea where I wanted to go. What I did know was that I wanted to go further from home so I can be in a new, exciting place, to be more independent and find adventure. After touring the University of Oregon, from the academics to the amazing school spirit, I fell in love with everything it had to offer. The Lundquist College of Business stood out to me especially, and I knew I wanted to major in business after hearing all about it. The college is ranked among the top 30 public business schools in the country. Now I'm a mentor for the Lundquist Flight School, setting up new business students for success. Lundquist has so many resources such as More Career Center, Product Tutoring Center, and tons of business clubs to join. I especially love being part of the International Business Association. I've met people from all over the world. And the Lundquist College of Business has a top 3 Green MBA program. MBA students are well prepared in environmental issues, sustainability, and social responsibility for a career in the green job market. Oregon is also a worldwide leader in sports and outdoor product education and research, offering a master's degree in sports product management. I know I've made a great decision choosing the U of O. I've had the time of my life here in Oregon, gathering knowledge from my courses and meeting some amazing people along the way. We can't wait to see you on campus where you can start your own story. That's all from me. Back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Gabby. Wow, with all those resources at your fingertips, you are definitely going to be prepared for the competitive job market that awaits you after graduation. No doubt your career will take flight. Take care. Now it's time for us to meet Jayla. She's a senior studying human physiology and planning public policy and management. Research is super important to her, and she's here to share with us her experience studying the natural sciences. Jayla is at the Knight campus, where the UO's scientific discoveries turn into the medicines and technologies we all will be using soon. Jayla, it is all yours.
What's up, y'all? And thanks, Alex, for the intro. As a child growing up, I was really curious, wanting to know more about the world around me. I needed to be someplace that I could explore. The University of Oregon was that place for me. The emphasis the UO places on research allows me to dive in and explore my interests. I am currently studying human physiology in the Department of Natural Sciences within the College of Arts and Sciences. I came into college thinking I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and that couldn't have been further from the truth. The University of Oregon prides itself in letting students be curious, make mistakes, and change their minds. There are so many programs to choose from and lots of ways for students to get involved. I also volunteer at the University Health Services building. What I love about the natural sciences is that faculty share their excitement for research with students and provide so many opportunities for them to get involved. And here at the Knight campus, students can tap into new opportunities in applied science and engineering as well. Even outside of academics, the University of Oregon gives you so many opportunities to discover what you love. Our campus offers over 300 different clubs and organizations to get involved in. My time here at the University of Oregon has been something I will never forget. I have grown so much as a student and young adult. The person that I am leaving U Oregon is so much stronger, confident, and well-rounded than the person I was entering. Thank you all so much, and back to you, Alex.
Wow, what awesome opportunities for students both inside and outside of the classroom. And the night campus is definitely where innovation is taken to the next level. Thanks to Gabe, Jayla. That was fantastic. Okay, now let's throw an O over to Riley and Brett. They are twin brothers in their junior year studying business administration with concentrations in operational business analytics and entrepreneurship. These global scholars just returned from a summer in Italy and are ready to share their international adventures with us all.
Thanks for the introduction, Alex. We were big fans of the UO growing up, so when we started our search for potential universities, we knew UO was the right choice. We wanted to study business and be a part of the Robert D. Clark's Honors College. We attended an information session through the university's Global Education Organ, and we're excited to study abroad. We've always had the desire to travel and learn more about other cultures. After talking to our academic advisors and the Global Education Organ staff, we decided to study wine marketing in Siena, Italy for our summer term. While there, we studied sustainable marketing, intercultural communication, and wine management. Our in-class projects replicated a hands-on, practical business experience. We traveled throughout Italy and learned the culture, the history, and the cuisine of many Italian regions. This program is just one of hundreds offered at University of Oregon. Whether you're looking for an internship, a language program, or to study within your major, Global Education Oregon can help you reach your goals and organize a plan. And with the launch of UO's new School of Global Studies and Languages in the College of Arts and Sciences, the UO is opening up even more doors to be more globally minded, learn new languages, and find solutions to some of the world's greatest challenges. We knew our time at Oregon was going to be amazing, but the diversity and opportunities we were offered far exceed our expectations. Aside from international travel, we're also part of the Run Club and the Warsaw Business Club. We've built incredible memories in the classroom, studying abroad, and cheering on our Ducks at sporting events. There is no better place than Oregon. And as always, go Ducks!
Okay.
Students, what we wanted to offer you was the opportunity to not only learn about majors, but to learn what our students are doing in addition to studying. So on that line, we're going to introduce you to some more great students. Today we have with us Aaron, Josh, and Kanika. They serve as ambassadors for the University of Oregon, and they're multicultural recruiters. And they have a wealth of knowledge about the University of Oregon and obviously about being a college student. And so they are joining us today. Again, you'll have the opportunity to put questions that you might have for them, either in the Q&A, and then we have Anna and Teresa working behind the scenes to either answer your questions in the chat or to give them to me so that the students can also answer them. So again, thank you again to Aaron, Kanika, and Josh for being here today. And so we'll get started by, I would like each of you just to introduce yourselves, tell us your major, your minors, and just a little bit about yourself and how, and your journey to college. And I'm just going to go alphabetically to start off. Let's start with Aaron.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Aaron. I am a senior here at the University of Oregon. I'm majoring in public relations with a minor in business administration. I'm from Wilsonville, Oregon, which is not too far from Portland and about an hour and a half north from here, Eugene. Here at the university, I'm involved in fraternity and sorority life, as well as I'm part of the chapter of the National Society of Leadership and Success here at the university. And my journey to college was kind of the typical journey to college, 4 years at a high school, and my college church began the fall of my senior year. And I was really looking just to stay in state. So University of Oregon was definitely always at the top of my list. And I'm glad I chose it. So here I am.
Thank you. How about Josh?
Hi, I'm Josh. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a freshman here at the University of Oregon. I'm majoring in public policy, planning, and management. I'm from a small town in Eastern Oregon called Ontario, Oregon. So like my journey to college was a little different because like in these small towns, they kind of push you to try to go for community colleges because it's cheaper. But like I got onto a really nice scholarship for University of Oregon, which is Pathway Oregon, which paid my tuition. So I decided that coming here would be my best option.
Thank you, Kanika.
Hi, y'all. My name is Kanika. I'm a biology and psychology major with a minor in global health. I'm a junior now. Some organizations that I'm affiliated with on campus are Asclepiad Pre-Medical Society, as well as Sports Athletic Training / Sports Medicine Club. I hail from Los Angeles, California, down south, if y'all are familiar with it. My journey to college was I was looking for something outside of my comfort zone, and that's why I started looking for places out of state, and that's when I ventured to the campus of UO, and once I came on campus, I just knew it was home.
Thank you all. I appreciate you all for sharing that. And so I'll let you decide now if you want. I don't know if you want to continue with the same order, but just answer as you feel. So my next question is, what do you wish you had known before you came to college?
Yeah, I can answer this one first. So what I would have loved to have known is how quickly and how just, I guess, fast you make friends or meet people, especially living in the residence halls. My floor specifically, in my residence hall, we all got very, very close pretty quickly. And as a senior now, I can happily say I'm still pretty close with pretty much everybody from my floor. We were all part of Greek life at the same time. So we were all kind of going through those experiences with recruitment and everything all at the same time. So it was a lot of fun. So if I would say one of the things I was worried about coming to school here, or going to college in general, was, I guess, making friends quickly, which was something I was, I guess, concerned about, but definitely that was something I wasn't prepared for, is how quickly you make friends here and how close you get with people. Like you just get close to them relatively fast. So yeah.
As for me, when I came here, I kind of wish that I knew how to like ask for help better before I came here, because like all the teachers here like want to help you. You can go to their office hours, which is like the scheduled time for getting help from the teachers, professors. And yeah, I really wish I knew to just ask for help my first term, because I kind of avoided it. So I was struggling a little bit more than I should have been if I just went to their office hours and asked for help.
As for me, when coming to college, I wish I just knew how many events that the U of O hosted, especially during my freshman year, just knowing that we have Ducks After Dark, where students can watch movies with fellow peers, or we have the Arts and Crafts Center, just knowing those outlets. There's so many activities that students can get involved with on campus if they want to.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We've talked today, before you all joined us, we've talked about taking the scary out of coming to college. So I'm just going to throw a different question at you. What was there one thing that you found when you first came to college that, well, one, what were you most afraid of? And then what did you find to help take that scary part away?
Yeah, so for me, it was more larger class sizes. I was really worried that, with a class size of maybe over 100 students, I was just nervous about walking in there, especially if they were upperclassmen as a freshman, seeing everybody in there, and just worried that I wouldn't, I guess, learn the material as well in a larger class setting like that. But the way that was really fixed pretty quickly was that the U of O, for larger class sizes, they set up there are discussion sessions set up each week to meet with graduate educators from that lecture class. So lectures taught by a professor, but these discussion sections each week are set up for about 20 to 25 students from that class to meet with the graduate educator. And that definitely alleviated some of the anxiety I had about being in larger class sizes and not learning the material as well. So that's definitely helped me a lot. Yeah.
So what I was really worried about was I've never lived with anyone before, like in the same room as me. So having roommates was like really scary. And I have two of them right now, and I didn't know them before I came to school here. So it was really like scary just having to like meet new people and hoping that I'll live with them okay. But now that I've been living with them and I know them better, I've really like enjoyed spending time with them.
So coming from out of state, I want to say the scariest thing to me when first joining college was making friends. Because from my high school, I only had one other person come with me. So once I got my footing in the door, I just made sure to leave my residence hall door open all the time, going to the activities such as like Ducks After Dark or the Arts and Crafts Center, and just seeing all the activities on campus. I really pushed myself to meet new people, go to different activities. That's what really helped me to step out of my comfort zone and make a lot of the friends that I do have today.
Thank you. And all of you have mentioned meeting people, stepping out of your comfort zone, making friends. Was there any one particular organization or department or just a program that you found when you first came to college that helped you start making connections?
Yeah, definitely. So for me, as I mentioned, I am a part of Fraternities for Life here on campus. So for me, not everybody has obviously the same experience of being in Greek life and all that. But my experience was extremely positive. I started off the way recruitment works. It was within the first 2 weeks of classes. So through that, I was able to make friends pretty quickly. And since I was in state, I did have a lot of people from my graduating high school come to school here as well. So I did know a good amount of people coming in as a freshman here. But of course, being in a fraternity definitely expanded my social circle, got me out of my comfort zone. It's something I didn't think I would really like or want to be a part of. And then once I did it, I loved it, and I'm still in my fraternity today. Another way that helped me a lot was going to the Center for Student Involvement, or the CSI, in the EMU. Within the first month of school, I really wanted to learn how to get more involved on campus apart from Greek life. So the CSI definitely helped me with that as well. So I was able to meet people in different organizations and all that good stuff. And it really helped me expand my social circle a lot.
And as for me, I had a couple student organizations come to my classes to speak, and one of which was OSPER, which is a student activist group. And what they were saying made sense to me, and like they're trying to do better for like the world by like petitions and everything. And I met a lot of people through that specific club. And yeah, I also figured since they like came to some classes I enjoy, I'd probably enjoy like working with them. And I really have. I've met a lot of people there, and I enjoyed my time working with them.
For me, I definitely made a lot of friends through clubs and my classes. Just sitting next to anyone in class, I would always start up a conversation. But what really strengthened my relationships with my friends is our associated students of University of Oregon like to hold a street fair twice a year during fall and spring term. And it's a great way to just meet local vendors, have food trucks. There's just a bunch of clothing shops, tea shops, a bunch of like just our local vendors and what's around campus. So it was a great time just seeing my friends outside of an academic setting and just being able to hang out and enjoy at campus.
Thank you. So what we're hearing is that there's a lot of opportunities to get connected, make friends, and that was a really important part of your start of being successful on campus. So thank you for sharing all of that. I'm wondering, what's the best piece of advice any of you might have been given about preparing, either preparing for college or for being in college? Did you receive any advice?
Yeah, so some of the best advice I was given and still I give to other younger students as well is to really put yourself out there and not be afraid, I guess, of what people might think. You might think maybe putting yourself out there might be a little embarrassing, a little odd just because you're not used to it. But everybody is in the same boat as you are, especially in the beginning. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and get yourself involved in something that sounds interesting to you. And that could be anything, any club, any organization. Even if you don't have a friend maybe joining it with you, go ahead and do it by yourself. It'll still be just fine. There's plenty of people you can meet, and don't be afraid to put yourself out of your comfort zone either. So that's some of the best advice I was given before coming into college, and I still kind of live by it. I like to put myself out of my comfort zone to gain new experiences and learn new things. So.
As for me, the best piece of advice I got was like how to manage my time better, because college has a lot looser of a schedule than like high school and middle school. And so someone told me that I should just like carve out just a little section of time every day for like studying and homework to like get ahead, which was really useful because before that I was like procrastinating and waiting till the last minute to do everything, which left me really stressed at the end of the term, which isn't a fun thing to be, especially when you have finals coming up and big tests like that. So just like having time to study and making sure I know everything for a class was really nice.
The best piece of advice I got coming into college was going to office hours. All of our professors are required to hold office hours where students can ask questions, just get to know their professors. Just even emailing professors, they're really good in my experience with reaching back to students. It's a great way not to only get your questions answered if you didn't get a chance in class, but they also like to get to know their students, what they're up to. And a lot of times your professor is conducting active research in their field. So it's a great way to know what they're up to, or even get involved within their research if research is something that you're interested in. It's a great way to just make those connections, even get letter recommendations later on. So just building those connections with your professors is the best advice I've gotten.
Thank you all. I appreciate all of that. So following up on that, what resources have you sought and found to help you be successful in your academic journey?
Yeah, so kind of going off of kind of with what Kanika said with office hours have been probably one of the most useful tools I have used during my time here at the U of O. At first I didn't use up my office hours as much as I should have, but as I've gotten through the years, sophomore, junior, and senior year now, I definitely try and utilize office hours as much as I can. I love building relationships, so building relationships with each of my professors is really important to me. And as Kanika mentioned, with letters of recommendation, for example, I'm currently doing my graduate school applications, and I needed 3 letters of recommendation for those, and I was able to get them each from U of O professors, and it was incredibly helpful, and they were extremely happy just to be able to write those for me because we already had a relationship built beforehand. So yeah, office hours and building relationships with professors was definitely one of those. So.
As for me, I thought that discussion sections were one of the best things for my academic excellence because a lot of my discussion groups were more like free form experiences where I could just ask the GE, the general educator, the graduate educator in charge, just questions about like the course and stuff I'm struggling with. It's also a great place to meet people that are also in the class in case you could like study together, or just ask your peers questions as well in case they get it when you don't, which is really nice.
Some resources that I've definitely taken advantage of on campus is some classes, I know especially for STEM classes, we offer encore classes where students essentially take an additional class where they go over materials with students that have previously passed the class with an A. So you go over practice problems, additional material, just get you more comfortable with the class. We also have the Tutoring and Academic Engagement Center within the Knight Library that I've also taken a use of, where students can, if they need help with a particular math problem, want a second pair of eyes on their essay they've been working really hard on. They're really good. You can just drop in within those hours, get anything you want looked over, and the people working there are super helpful.
Thank you. Those are all great, all great suggestions. Another question I like to ask, and I know Josh, this is your first year, so may not have a lot of things yet, but I'm just wondering, what's one of the coolest things you've either been able to study or just learn about since you've been in college?
So for one of my last science classes I had to take for my general education requirements, I was able to take a dinosaurs class, like a geology class about dinosaurs. So that was super interesting. I'm not a STEM major, so being able to take one of those fun science classes was really like fun to me. And a lot of members of my fraternity also took us. We all kind of took it at the same time, learning about dinosaur bones and different ages of dinosaurs and all that good stuff. Pretty much think Jurassic Park, but in a classroom. It was really, really interesting and super fun. I thought it was really interesting. It didn't really feel as much like work as it was more fun because it was something fun that I was learning about. So I definitely loved that class.
Wow,
so
who
I'm a
knew?
big so I'm a big comic book fan, and so I decided to take the comic book studies class, which takes like a view at comic books. It was really nice because I also collect comic books. So like some of the required textbooks that we needed were just comic books. So it's nice to like add to my collection a little bit there. And it was also cool to see the history of like comics as a medium, seeing like the start from newspaper comics all the way to like big comic book publishers like DC and Marvel, and seeing like how they succeed and everything.
For me, it was definitely taking understanding music with Professor Brian McWhorter, Music 125. As Aaron was saying, taking classes outside of your major is really fun. I was able to take a music class as a STEM major, and Professor Brian McWhorter definitely made it really approachable, where students didn't feel like there was this big wall for it was unachievable. He made the class super engaging. He's also the director for Orchestra Next in Eugene. He's also the orchestra director for Eugene's ballet. So he's very involved within the community, and he just made the class super engaging. We also were able to make songs on GarageBand, which I've never done before. So it was a great way to get me out of my comfort zone.
That is so awesome. You all are making me want to go back to college. Okay, maybe not, but yeah, as working in the CMAE, I get to hear about so many amazing classes, and as the students have mentioned, you can take classes that don't have anything to do with your major or minor. You can explore. Obviously, you have to stay on track and take classes that are applicable to your majors and minors, but there's just so many fun opportunities and just opportunities just to learn really different things. And so we didn't have all of these opportunities when I was in college a really long time ago. So thank you all for sharing that. And kind of in that same vein, I'm wondering what is maybe a really cool non-academic opportunity you've had, for either a trip or just an event or an organization. Some of you have mentioned organizations already, but is there just something really cool that you've been able to experience?
Yeah, so again, with my fraternity, we do like to take trips outside of Eugene a lot of the time. So I remember one trip my sophomore year, we got to take our formal trip up to Vancouver, Canada for the weekend. And it was an overnight trip. We all brought a date, each of the brothers brought a date. And it was just a lot of fun being able to just be with some of my closest friends in a different country, even though it was Canada, not too far from here. But it was still just a lot of fun to kind of get out of Eugene for a little bit and explore a different city for the weekend. Along with that, another trip I was going to take this year was to go up to Seattle for the University of Washington versus University of Oregon for the football game. Again, we were there for the weekend, and it was awesome just being able to walk around Seattle, being able to cheer on our Ducks in a different city, and just to see all the Ducks in a different place that wasn't Eugene. It was just a really awesome sight to see, just everybody wearing green and yellow. It was an awesome experience. And I look forward to, once I graduate, being able to go to one of those away football games again. So.
Yeah, my favorite experience that I've gone to has definitely been also the football games. I went to the Oregon versus OSU game, which is like a really exciting game to go to since we're kind of rivals. it was also really fun to watch because like both teams played really hard and we won in the end, which makes it like even better to go to that. And yeah, it was really exciting, and the energy was just off the charts the entire game. Very great.
One of my favorite programs on campus is actually the outdoor program. It makes exploring Eugene and all of Oregon essentially just super economical for students and really easy. Like personally, as an out-of-state student, I don't have a car. So they'll host events where they'll have like a van and students can go skiing or snowboarding. Personally, me and my friends rented out inflatable kayaks from them, and we were able to go kayaking on Dexter's Reservoir, which was a great time. They just offer so many like trips, excursions, and even have gear that students can rent out at a low cost or no cost for students. So if exploring Oregon is something that you're interested in, checking out the outdoor program is something that I definitely recommend.
Thank you for that. And as you have heard, there are many opportunities to do just a wide variety of things. And I think what I'll say about the U of O is if you have an interest, there is probably an organization, a club, or a department that does what you're interested in, and you'd be surprised. Before we are totally out of time, because I think I could just probably ask you tons of more questions, but do we have any questions? I'm going to ask my right hand over here. Any questions in the chat? I can see there's some questions come in, but I can't see what they are. Anything directly for this our student panel here today, or they can't be just answered in the Q&A? Are we good? Okay, sounds like our behind the scene folks are able to answer the questions. And so I just really want to thank you all. I guess before we go, is there anything, I've asked you specific questions, but is there anything in particular that any of you would want to share? Oh, someone wrote, you play games. So I guess someone had mentioned well, I guess there's a lot of questions of sometimes about, we do have, I know we have what is it called? E-games here on campus. We actually do have, I'm not real familiar with it, but I do know we actually have an intramural sport for e-games.
We do have
that's not something I'm really up on.
Club, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to say we do have an esports club and a new esports lounge in the Urban Moore Union, which is open for students. I did want to say one thing else with what Kanika said about the outdoor program. I love the outdoor program. I was not a huge outdoorsy person before I got to school here, but now I kind of am. I love to ski, so being able to, I don't own my own skis because I don't really want to pay for them. They're a little bit expensive. So being able to rent them from the outdoor program is really, really awesome. I don't know. I just love being able to just have that option as well for some of my friends who snowboard. And I've also rented tents from the outdoor program for a camping trip I took with friends my freshman year. So, you know, just love the outdoor program. I did want to say that as well. So.
Well, I thank you all very much for being here. I've seen one more some questions coming in. We'll continue to answer the questions in the chat. But thank you all for being a part of this great discussion today and sharing your experiences. And again, I'm hoping our students take away from this that there are lots of ways to get connected, lots of resources. And our MCRs who have been on our student panel today are an amazing example of just how you can get connected to campus, get information. These may be some of the folks who, well, by the time you all get here, probably not doing the tours, but it will be amazing group like this that will give your first campus tour. And just know that you can continue to send in questions and we'll get them answered for you. So Aaron, Josh, and Kanika, thank you so much. And Anna behind the scenes and Teresa behind the scenes. Thank you for being here today to share with our students. And at this point, we are going to take you on part 2 of the UO campus tour so you can meet some more students and learn about great places and areas of study on campus. So thank you again.
Okay, so who wouldn't want to study wine marketing in the Tuscany region of Italy? Now that's an international class project that I could get behind. And that's only one of many opportunities for these ducks to take flight around the world. Thanks, you two. Up next is Connor, a junior studying product design. He's here to show us why the UO School of Design isn't your average place to unleash your creativity. Connor, please paint us a picture of what it's all about.
Hey folks, for as long as I can remember, I've always loved designing and assembling things. From building Legos in my room as a kid, to going on to discover woodworking in my dad's shop, this sort of hands-on creativity is what I wanted to structure my career around. When choosing a college, there are a few different things I was looking for. I wanted that big school experience without feeling like just another number, a field of study that combined my interests, an active student body, elite sports teams, and a nationally recognized school. After narrowing down my search, it was clear that University of Oregon fit the bill. I chose to major in product design because it's a good balance between engineering and design, and for the exposure it gave me to 3D modeling and digital media production. There are many other areas of study within the UO College of Design, such as art and tech, public administration, architecture, and art history, just to name a few. If you want a more hands-on opportunity to practice and learn, the UO offers many student jobs in a variety of fields. I chose to work as a videographer for the UO's Strategic Communications Department, as well as a motion graphics intern for UO Athletics. Both jobs have major crossover with product design and have been incredible, eye-opening experiences that have accelerated my learning in the field. The biggest benefit of going to the UO is that there are many ways to learn who and what you want to become while in college, and you're guaranteed to meet other people with interests similar to yours. That's it for me. Stay classy, Alex.
Incredible, Connor. From art and tech to public administration, you have really spread your wings and expanded all of our vision of what it means to be a design student. For a truly hands-on experience, this school definitely has a ton to offer. Thanks again, Connor. Okay, everyone, let's meet Izzy. She's a senior studying education with a minor in special education. She is here at the Moss Street Children's Center to talk to us about her aspirations for becoming a teacher.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, everyone. As long as I can remember, I've always known I wanted to be a teacher. I come from a very long line of educators. Before I was even in kindergarten, I often spent the day in my grandmother's second grade classroom. I grew up cheering for the Ducks alongside my alumni father, so the University of Oregon was at the top of my list when I began my college search process. I was so happy to find out that we're home to one of the most highly ranked education programs in the country. Our education program is ranked top 6 among public universities. Our special education program is ranked top 3. And as a college of education, we are one of the top research institutions in the country. Research and hands-on experience are at the core of our program. Research methods, models, curriculum, and assessment tools that were developed by the UO's College of Education are used in more than 29,000 schools internationally. It's such a surreal experience to read about research in my textbooks and see that it was developed right here by professors that I see in the classroom every single day. One of the best things about the University of Oregon is how we have all the resources of a larger university while still maintaining the sense of community that you find at smaller universities. From field study to our school spirit, the possibilities here at U of O are endless. The hands-on experience that I've gained here, especially working remotely with youth, has helped prepare me for the future, not only to enter a master's program and obtain my teaching license, but to have a classroom of my own one day. There's nowhere in the world that I would have rather made my nest than right here at the University of Oregon. That's all from me. Throwing it back to you, Alex.
Wow, Izzy, what a great story. I'm sure that students will be proud to call you their teacher someday. Thank you for sharing a bit of that dream with us. Good luck after graduation. Next up, we have Jeremy. He is in his last year studying journalism and media studies here at the UO, and he just got back in town after studying in Ghana for the summer. A true storyteller by nature, Jeremy is ready to share some of his journey through photography.
Thanks for the intro, Alex. My path to the U of O has been a long and wild ride. I had to work hard after high school before I decided to be a journalist, and I worked through community college before transferring to the University of Oregon. Being a transfer student, I wasn't sure how I would fit in, but I made friends, enjoyed all my classes, and put in the hard work I needed to chase my dreams. My professors at the University of Oregon and the School of Journalism and Communication keep me on track and push me. They connected me with other professors, helped me enroll in classes, and provided me with the tools I needed to keep moving forward. As an SOJC student, you're always working from one project to the next, either by yourself, with a professor, or in a group. You have access to the J-Cage, filled with equipment that you will need to tell any story that you want to tell. And you've got access to the writing labs 24/7, where I and a lot of students spend plenty of time grinding on our projects. If you want some on-the-job experience with the student publications, you can get involved with OR Magazine, Ethos, The Daily Emerald, Duck TV, Science and Memory, or Media in Ghana, to name a few. I got a ton of hands-on experience and adventure and built my portfolio with the programs here at the University of Oregon. No matter what major you choose, you'll find people with the same passion for what they're doing as you do. I've been traveling doing my dream job, telling stories with people who truly love what they do. I'm proud to be an SOJC student and work among such an amazing group of people. Hope to see you around campus. Back to you, Alex.
They say pictures are worth 1,000 words. Jeremy, your camera has created a novel. Thank you for sharing those experiences with us and for showing potential ducks out there that the UO can help them tell their stories as well. Get ready to meet Jane. She is a junior majoring in sociology, and she's going to talk about the impact that research has on her studies here at the university. Jane, take it away.
Hey y'all, my name is Jane and I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I chose the University of Oregon because I felt like I was more than just a number. In other words, I was a person before I was a student. And now I'm here studying sociology and art. Being a part of the social sciences department is something I've been really grateful for. I've always loved challenging myself academically, and my peers and professors have made that really easy to do. There are quite a few majors to choose from. Some of our most popular are economics and general social science, but I found my home in the sociology department. I've always loved studying the world and the people in it, and lucky for me, that dream has become a reality here. I'm able to work with classmates who also want to deep dive into that research as well. Everyone in this department is incredibly passionate about what they're doing, and that's what connects us. Whether it's through the sociology club or a history class is completely up to you. I always thought research was something that only graduate students could do. But here at the University of Oregon, research is ingrained in you the second you step foot on campus. In fact, 3/4 of our student population is involved in research. It's not just for STEM majors either, but for all of us social science majors as well. My classmates and I get to research and study underlying social issues, or how one portion of society functions, all while connecting that data directly to the community around us. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do in college, but I knew I wanted to work with everyone around me. And something that makes the UO so special is just that, the people. I'm able to study what I love while having fun and making meaningful connections, and that's something that I'm really grateful for. But that's it for my story. Throwing it back to you, Alex.
Thank you, Jane, for showing us that research doesn't only belong in the lab. Here at the university, anyone can engage in research. From biology and chemistry to sociology, there really is a chance for every student to explore what interests them. And that is awesome. Thanks again. Next, let's move over to the School of Music and Dance, where we will meet Natalie. She's a senior who's drumming her way to 2 degrees, a bachelor's in music percussion performance and a BA in music theory. Natalie is going to tell us why this school is a rocking place for students to be.
Thanks for that introduction, Alex. From a young age, I had this dream of playing in an orchestra, not piano, but percussion. And so freshman year of high school, I joined band and knew that this is exactly what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. The University of Oregon was the only school I applied to because I knew that this was the school for me. After auditioning at the School of Music and Dance, I felt completely at home in the percussion section. The professors we have here are internationally renowned. Here in Eugene, we have an amazing music scene for all genres. Because of the connections I have at the UO, not only am I a student, but I'm able to make my music a full-time career. I played with the Eugene Concert Choir, the Elsinore Theater, and Orchestra Next, a group that plays live music with the Eugene Ballet Company. But the UO doesn't just excel in music performance. We offer degrees in music history, music theory, jazz performance, pop music, dance, and so much more. The UO offers amazing performance opportunities for non-majors too. We have 3 rock and a cappella groups you can join, various dance programs, no matter your experience, and opportunities to enjoy almost 300 concerts and events each year. I've also been invited to travel internationally as a tour percussionist. Because of the amazing camaraderie we have here, it was so easy for me to get involved. I will cherish all the memories I've made. Next for me is a lifetime of happiness, success, and personal growth, all thanks to the opportunities and networking provided by the UO. That's all from me. Take it back, Alex.
Awesome, Natalie. Whether you are a musician or not, you can definitely get down with the programs in the School of Music and Dance. That was fantastic, Natalie. Take care. Time to head over to Zach. Zach is a sophomore majoring in linguistics and Japanese, and he can't wait to tell us about his experience at the UO's College of Arts and Sciences. The floor is all yours, Zach.
Thanks, Alex. Hello, everyone. The University of Oregon was always my first choice. The students and faculty are so warm and inviting, and an environment where we could be open, honest, and friendly with each other was very important to me, and I felt that from the moment I stepped on campus. One aspect of the university that has been very important to my learning is not only how invested the faculty are in their fields of study, but how interested they are in sharing that knowledge and getting students excited about their particular fields. Many of the faculty are conducting research with undergraduate students, something that I'm very excited to be a part of starting this year. When it comes to the humanities and linguistics in particular, this kind of research combining many different fields such as sociology, psychology, and linguistics can help us understand each other and make the world a better place, which is a large driving force behind humanities research here at the University of Oregon. Humanities at the UO will open up a wide range of career possibilities for me. From being able to work at a Japanese company abroad, to translation work, or even being able to work full-time researching as a professor, this field helps me understand the different perspectives and ways in which people think and express themselves. Although my college career has taken me in many exciting directions, I'm now able to visualize what I want out of a career for myself. Thanks to the humanities in particular, I now have a plan and I'm excited to make a difference in the lives of people both foreign and domestic. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Now back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Zach. The humanities certainly do provide an opportunity for students to go into a wide range of careers after graduating. Arigato. Okay, let's meet Jared. Jared is a senior studying math and computer science with a minor in music technology. And he's here to share with us his experience in the Clark Honors College at the UO. Jared, please enlighten us all.
Hey, thanks, Alex. So when I started looking at schools, there were a lot of different paths that I wanted to pursue. I have widely varied interests, so it was important for me to find somewhere that I could take part in diverse and interdisciplinary study that reflects all of my passions. I am currently a math and computer science major with a minor in music technology, and I'm also enrolled in the Clark Honors College. Taking classes in the Honors College has been an incredibly rewarding experience for me, as the small class sizes and intimate discussion-based lectures have allowed me to dive in deep into the topics that I'm passionate about. The opportunities that the Honors College provides for engaging with course content on a deeper level have also been incredibly rewarding, and I'm extremely grateful for all my honors professors who've acted as both my advisors and guides throughout my academic career. The Honors College has also been a really great resource for me in helping me to find additional scholarship, funding, and research opportunities, and I'm so grateful to be surrounded by so many fellow students who are equally as engaged and passionate about their fields of research. Speaking of research, research has been a huge part of my time at UO and was actually what led me to find out about the Accelerated Masters in Computer and Information Science program and the Reservation of Graduate Credit programs, both of which allow students to begin earning graduate credit during their undergrad careers. And with these programs, I plan to then continue on to pursue either my master's or PhD in computer science. I'm really grateful for all the opportunities that UO and the Honors College have provided me, and I think it's been really great to see how no matter what your interests are, there's always a way to combine the things you love to make something unique and new. So that's all from me. Thanks, Alex. Back to you.
Thanks, Jared. It sounds like the Honors College is a great choice for students who might be looking for that small college vibe, but with all the resources you can get from a large research university. Now, honors students can connect with their professors, peers, and find amazing academic opportunities just like Jared. Okay, everyone, let's meet Amy. She's in her senior year studying public relations here at the UO. Amy will be talking about this stunning campus nestled in the Willamette Valley and its proximity to some of the most breathtaking landscapes here in the Pacific Northwest. Amy, please take it away.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to share my experience here at UO. I grew up just outside Portland and wanted to stay in state for the college experience, but wasn't sure what career I wanted to pursue or what to expect coming to UO. Where I've ended up is completely different from what I expected, and I'm so happy it all played out the way it did. I've met so many people here who inspired me to find what I'm passionate about, which I've discovered as being outdoors. Eugene is definitely a unique place. There are hiking trails, climbing gyms, parks, and the Willamette River. And if you go a little bit out of town, there's waterfalls, mountains for skiing, and the beach. Eugene is just a few hours away from Smith Rock, my favorite place in Oregon. I'm only a 2-hour drive from Portland, 1 hour from the coast, a few hours from skiing in Bend, and exploring the redwoods down in Northern California. Living in the Pacific Northwest has given me the opportunity to pursue self-reflection and figure out what I love to do. The UO prepared me for my past 2 internships, which helped me find balance in my life. Feeling confident about my experiences allows me to focus my energy on my passions, which I'm so excited to keep exploring. Had I not chosen to go to UO 3 years ago and met the people I did, I wouldn't be where I am today. I learned to go with what feels right and be open to new experiences. Everybody's college experience is different, and mine is a lot different than expected, but I wouldn't want it any other way. Back to you, Alex.
Amy, thank you for showing us around this beautiful state of Oregon. What an amazing place to call home while you're studying. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to hit those hiking trails. But before we do, let's learn a bit more about this university. Thanks again for that. Next up is Kara. She's a senior studying product design with minors in art, entrepreneurship, food studies, and she can't wait to tell you about student life and how she got involved here on campus. Welcome, Kara. You are on.
Hey everyone. When I started looking for a college, I had no idea what I wanted to be. I knew I was interested in being creative and trying everything. After touring the University of Oregon and seeing all there was to do here, I knew this was the place for me. My first week on campus, I pursued 2 on-campus jobs, a theater stitcher and a social media digital strategist, and got both. Being a theater stitcher is where I was first exposed to the incredible world of design. The designers I worked under taught me more about myself, my interests, and my dreams. Between my work experience and taking engaging art classes at UO is where I found my passion for product design. I've also taken advantage of 2 study abroad opportunities at the UO, the pre-freshman program in London and the food studies program in Siena, Italy. Both of these programs gave me the opportunity to create lifelong connections with new people and places. All of these on-campus opportunities have been made possible because of the Accessible Education Center at the UO. I have needed accommodations and support throughout my educational journey. The AEC provides support and ensures I have the tools I need to be successful. One of my favorite things about UO is the many ways to get involved on campus. The ASUO Street Fair is one of my favorite events. The whole community comes together in support of food and fun, and 13th Avenue is lined with students and vendors all day long. When I chose to come to the University of Oregon, I never could have guessed how much I would learn and experience. The UO has been a place where I've been able to gain hands-on experience both on the job and in the classroom while working on my dreams. That's my story. Back to you, Alex.
Wow, Kara, it's so cool you found your passion for product design by putting yourself out there and using campus resources. Thanks for sharing your journey. Sounds like getting involved in student life has its perks. especially when those perks include street fair food. Sign me up, please. Thanks again for that. Okay, let's meet Erica. She's a senior studying business administration with a concentration in marketing. She's here to tell us about the perks and fun of living in the residence halls and how she used her passion for business to connect with people on campus. The floor is all yours, Erica.
Thanks, Alex, and hey, everyone. I grew up in California and knew that I wanted to leave to experience something new. Although I never visited the campus before committing, University of Oregon was a really easy choice for me because of the wide range of programs offered, great athletic teams, and a ton of amenities for students to enjoy. My freshman year, I lived in an academic residential community, which we refer to as ARCs. I was in the business ARC, where I got to live and go to classes with students in my major. Living in the residence halls was super fun and definitely a highlight of my college experience. Although choosing housing can seem difficult and a little scary, don't worry. UO is here to help all students find the best housing option for you. We have 10 different residence halls to choose from with more than 15 ARCs. UO offers academic support for all students living in the residence halls. We have multiple study lounges, faculty members living in the residence halls, and faculty fellows who are a great resource if you have any questions or just want to talk. The study lounges are really nice if you're up working late and don't want to disrupt your roommate, or if you're looking for a fun place to study and hang out with friends. Not only does UO care about students' success academically, but they also want to see you excel outside the classroom. The campus hosts all kinds of events and activities, such as end-of-the-term pizza parties and solving escape room competitions. UO is more than just attending classes. It's about finding your place within our tight-knit community, studying what you're passionate about, and building long-lasting relationships, all while being a Duck. I am forever grateful to be a part of the flock. That's it from me. Go Ducks, and back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Erica. Sounds like there's plenty of opportunities to make friends on campus, meet others who share your interests, and find your spot in the flock. The UO community is big, yet you'll still find your own small groups of friends for life right here. Thanks for sharing. Okay, now let's head over to meet Suhail. He's a senior studying advertising with a minor in entrepreneurship. Suhail is also a major foodie. Who's better to show us all the sweet snacks and meals the UO has to offer? Take it away, Suhail.
What's good, everybody? I came to the University of Oregon because I was impressed with a wide variety of the programs that were available here and not at any other schools. I'm talking the location, the culture, and in the environment were all motivating factors for why I decided to come to the U of O. But aside from that, the food here is incredible. At the EMU, there's an abundance of dining options. Pizza or an acai bowl, a comforting bowl of soup and grilled cheese, or maybe you're looking for something gluten-free and vegan. Maybe you just want some coffee and a place to study. No problem. Our 14 dining locations offer you a place to kick back, meet up, hide out, and fuel up with locally sourced, seasonal ingredients. You can practice your own culinary skills at one of our community kitchens, or come to Unthank Hall, which is also home to our Student Welcome Center. The campus has all kinds of foods at our stadiums. Nothing better than some crispy fries at a basketball game. Or you can link up after a football game at hot spots on campus. These spots are meant to bring people together and celebrate the fun parts of college over food. Oregon has taught me about the power of community, and day by day, I'm learning to cherish it that much more. In a world that continues to go more and more online, I hope to continue to forge real-life relationships and make meaningful memories that'll last. All right, Alex, back to you.
That was awesome, Suhail. The food scene at the UO is incredible, and it's great to hear the dining halls use locally sourced ingredients. Amazing. I'm looking forward to grabbing something to eat and kicking it on campus as soon as I finish up here. Thanks again. Last, but certainly not least, it wouldn't be a proper campus tour if we didn't introduce you to the one, the only, the Duck. He is a fowl of very few words, actually none at all, because he doesn't speak. But his well-toned wings from doing so many push-ups at football games tell the story of the UO's success, not only on the playing field, but also in the classroom. Wow, Duck. I can see why you're loved by so many people and one of the most recognized college mascots in the entire nation. Sports Illustrated even ranked you second among the greatest mascots in college football history. Now that's something we're shaking your tail feathers for. Thanks again for that. The University of Oregon, everyone. This was such a fun tour. I'd like to thank all the amazing, passionate students we got to meet today for sharing their stories. Looks like they're all set to achieve incredible things here at the UO and beyond. What a great group of students and what a wonderful campus. Well, that's all the time I have for now, but I highly encourage you all to check out more about the University of Oregon for yourself. This place is incredible. Trust me when I say it's even better in person. Bye, everyone. Until next time.
Manager for alumni engagement and corporate engagement for the Knight Campus Graduate Internship Program, and Dr. Nima Dinari, Director of Optics Programs for the Knight Campus. They'll tell you about our awesome research facilities here on the UO campus, some of the amazing work being done there, and some of the amazing things you can study on the Knight Campus. Welcome, Betsy and Nima. Thank you.
Hi. Thanks, Barbara. So I'm going to bring up a PowerPoint here. Oops. Now what am I doing? Okay. Thank you so much, Barbara, for the introductions. As she said, we're here from the Knight Campus, the graduate internship program there. And as you can see, hopefully you'll be able to see this, I'm representing on my Knight Campus t-shirt here and in my background. Today we are going to share with you tours of our brand new building, the Phil and Penny Knight Campus for Accelerating Scientific Impact, along with CAMCOR Lab, which is an underground lab facility here at the University of Oregon. Also, we hope to share with you some ideas of what it might look like to be a scientist and the types of impact you can have on the world around you. The Knight Campus Graduate Internship Program is a master's program, and we are focused on launching careers in science and engineering. The program is accelerated, so once students finish their undergraduate degrees and come to this program, they are usually done 15 to 18 months later, which is pretty quick. 9 months of that time is spent doing hands-on work in an internship for a company or national lab. So there's a lot of fun hands-on experience to get you going there. We have 5 different scientific tracks that students can take. And in this first portion of the presentation, I'm going to highlight one person from each of those tracks so you can see kind of the possibilities of what's out there. But first of all, again, I'd like to say hello. And as Barbara said, this is my colleague, Nima Dinari. He's going to be doing the tours, and he's the director of the optics track. And he also gets to recruit students to our program. He has a PhD in physics and has been working with the program for almost 10 years. My name is Betsy. I also get to recruit students. I get to provide support for students, and then I get to support alumni of our program, no matter if they graduated 1 year ago or 31 years ago or however long that might be. So at this point, I'd like you to take a moment and picture in your head a scientist. What do they look like? What do they wear? What kinds of things do they do? Now, I want you to picture yourself as a scientist. What would you want to learn? How would you want to change the world? So here are a few ways that scientists and engineers from the Knight Campus Graduate Internship Program are doing just that. First, I'd like you to meet Andy Mendoza. Andy has an undergraduate degree in biochemistry. Then he came to our program and got a master's in chemistry with a focus in molecular sensors. What does that mean? It's a specialized field of chemistry. So kind of like designing a lock for a key, each molecular sensor is designed to interact, detect, and produce a measurable signal in the presence of a specific component. So a great example is if you've ever taken an at-home COVID test, and you got a swab way up inside of your nose, and then you add it to a liquid, and then you add the liquid to the test strip. And if a certain visual signal is present, it means the presence or absence of the COVID virus. So the molecular sensors create that visual signal. So as you can imagine, they can be and are used in a variety of applications: health diagnostics, cosmetics, agriculture, food testing, testing for explosives in the TSA line at the airport. Andy uses his degree in molecular sensors in early cancer detection. The earlier cancer is detected, the sooner patients can start personalized treatment, and that helps increase the probability of beating that cancer. Next, I'd like to introduce you to Monica Hoke. Monica has a background in chemical engineering, but got her master's in chemistry with a focus in polymer science in our program. Polymers are everywhere, and they can be natural or human-made. So I've included some examples on the slide, but there are many more. And our polymer alumni are working in a variety of different fields, from pharmaceuticals to sporting goods, think Nike, for example, coatings and paints, cosmetics, nail polishes. Monica works with synthetic polymers, so ones that are made in a lab, creating and testing a special polymeric material that is used in purple mattresses. And so this is their special polymer material that makes their mattresses special and different from the rest. Next up is Nate Alowo. He has a background in chemistry, then came to our program and earned his master's in biology with a focus in bioinformatics. Bioinformatics is highly interdisciplinary, and it develops methods and software tools for understanding biological information, specifically when there's huge data sets and it's really complex. So it brings together the fields of biology, chemistry, physics, computer science, information engineering, mathematics, and statistics to analyze and interpret that biological data. Nate uses his degree to help find better treatments for cancer, but also for things like rapid testing of viruses such as Zika and Ebola. So an example of this is that I have a friend, and unfortunately, his mother, they found brain tumors and lung cancer. Through bioinformatics and genomics, like Nate does, it was discovered that she has a certain type of mutation in her cancer cells that allow her to receive treatment in pill form versus receiving chemotherapy. And the pills can also extend her life up to an extra 5 years. So it's pretty amazing to see what this type of work can do and the impact you can have on people's lives. This is Kara. Kara is a physicist, and she started with engineering physics in undergrad and then came to our program to study optical materials and devices. Optics uses simple and complex instruments to study, measure, and influence how photons propagate through and interact with matter. So it's a key part of a lot of technology we use in our modern lives, including our computers, which we're on right now, our smartphones, medical equipment, and more. So Think lasers, think fiber optics, think LEDs. But with her degree in optics, Kara works with LiDAR technology. So if you can imagine how bats, the saying blind as a bat, they use radar instead of sight to find their way. LiDAR is similar, but it uses lasers, and the time that it takes for those lasers to bounce off something and return to the device to create spatial awareness. So it can be used in self-driving vehicles, in agriculture, on airplanes, and much like computers, the first LiDAR created was giant, like really big. But at her company, Ouster, they've developed a technology basically that you can hold in your hand. So much smaller and easy to apply to different things. Last, but certainly not least, is Jesus Meza. Jesus has a double major in undergrad in physics and math. And then he came to our program to study applied physics with a focus on photovoltaics and semiconductors. The semiconductor track is also very interdisciplinary and situated at the intersection of chemistry, physics, and chemical engineering. And semiconductors are materials that conduct electrical current or insulate based on their environment. So they're important in electronics and microelectronics because their conductivity can be controlled to flow in just one direction or only under certain circumstances. So again, we're thinking cell phones, computers, Fitbits, a lot of things use semiconductor technology, including photovoltaics, which is the conversion of light to electricity using semiconducting materials, solar energy. With his degree in semiconductors, Jesus works for a company that actually creates technologies and solves problems for other organizations and companies. So the cool thing is he's always being presented with new challenges to solve. And most recently, Jesus got to work on and actually named a sensor that went to the International Space Station via the SpaceX Falcon 9. And so on the slide, you can see some of the raw data taken by the spectral camera on that device. It's pretty incredible. So that gives you kind of an overview of what's possible. There's many more directions you can go in the Knight campus. And from here, I'm going to throw it over to Nima. I'm going to switch to our video tours.
Hey, everybody.
And we'll show you around some of the tools that these individuals might use.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nima, and I'm excited to be here. This is the favorite part of our job, is interacting with students and sharing science. I'm really happy to have you all here. And if you didn't understand all of that, that's okay. I'm 41 and I'm learning things every day, and you just need to be comfortable with that, learning how to learn and being okay with not knowing things. That gets you far in life. Just be taking it easy day by day. So here we are, we're going to jump into a tour, and there hopefully will be a little bit more to learn. And the building opened in 2020, like right when COVID was happening. So we're just starting to occupy the building, and we want to show as many people the building. This is the ground floor as you walk in, and you'll see there's lots of place for people to get together and work. And as the different students and faculty and staff come into the building, as the building gets more occupied, they're still doing a little more construction. We need space for people and tools. So right here, we have some space for some administrators and offices. Downstairs, we have lots of tools that we're going to look at. Right now, you can see the carpet. Now, the carpet is actually designed by UVO physics faculty, and there's fractal patterns. That's a mathematical concept. And it's been shown that the art around you can help you relax, and enjoying your space is really important for thinking. So we'll be seeing a lot of that throughout the building. On the glass there on the right, we'll see some mountain designs, some mountain ranges in Oregon. So there's going to be different spaces here that the faculty can share and do their research collaboratively. So this is the imaging space, and we have different types of microscopes that can look at different types of structures, where they're like organic structures like cells, or tissue or inorganic samples like a piece of metal or other materials like polymers. So right here is, let's say, a microscope, and we have this vertical column, and there's all these optics and electronics like a camera at the top that digitizes the signal of light that comes into it. And then you'll notice a computer there where the person actually gets to see the image. So they might be upstairs in their lab doing something, and they need to come downstairs and use a different tool. And this is just one example of the many tools that we have available in our collaborative spaces. So this is a certain type of optical microscope, and they get complicated really quickly. So here's another one, and inside that box is the microscope, and they're trying to keep it isolated from vibrations. So if you imagine if you were on a ship and you're trying to read a book and the book was moving, it would be hard to read it. Now imagine you're trying to look at really small things like human cells. You don't want the ship to be rocking. So this is a stable space. And it's not just the movement, it's also the temperature, the airflow, all that will impact the quality of the image they're getting. So they put it in that box, and we'll see a lot of that in this tour, these tools where your sample goes in the box and then you control it with the computer. So one thing I can encourage you is to get comfortable working with computers, not just browsing the internet or, simple things, but actually being comfortable navigating a computer and spending a lot of time using Google or whatever to search for answers. So this is a really expensive microscope. We have all kinds of microscopes, different colors, different energies. And the reason why we need these microscopes is because the things that we work with are beyond human vision. So this room, called a clean room, is used to make the devices that are smaller than a human hair sometimes, the thickness of a human hair. So, we can't see that with our eyes. So that's why we have all these different microscopes. There's a question coming in the Q&A. Yes, so the main spaces are open to the public, and you can actually, if you're here, come in during business hours and walk around. There's actually, you can get some coffee in there if you really wanted to. Yeah, it's open to the public, and students from all over campus are welcome to come and read and use our space. So to the clean room, there's tools in here that make the devices that, for example, go in your computer. And the structures are made layer by layer. Think of making a sandwich where you put a piece of bread and then you add layer by layer of ingredients. So in the clean room, they're adding these different layers that over time make a device. And those layers sometimes can be only 10 atoms thick. I mean, that's way, way smaller than the thickness of a human hair. And that's why we have to keep it clean, because if a small piece of dust fell on the object that they're trying to make, it would ruin all their work. So that yellow room in there, we'll notice somewhere else they have yellow rooms. That's to keep certain kinds of light out. And we're going to keep moving on here to other parts. We could talk for hours about just the clean room. We're going to walk by this 3D printer lab, and you notice to the left a room called the fabrication lab. And we're going to see those spaces in a second, but we're kind of walking by, and you notice these different machines, these big boxes off to the right. So that's where your sample would go into, and you can print layer by layer, just like I was mentioning that sandwich, layer by layer, we're printing up materials. So if you imagine if you were to stick the same piece of paper into a printer and print images on top, each time you're adding another layer, and these can actually print plastics, metals, and it can print different kinds of plastics and different kinds of metals. So that's why we have these different machines, and you might actually move your sample, the thing you're trying to make, between the different chambers. And if you think about it like a sandwich, someone had to grow the tomato, someone had to grow the lettuce. And so you're doing different steps, and then you bring it all together for your final product. So 3D printing allows the the faculty, the students, the staff to have access to millions of dollars of equipment without having to own it themselves. So collaboratively, the Knight campus has all these tools for our scientists to do their research with. If we continue, we'll see these other smaller printers. These little orange boxes are different flavors of 3D printers. Now, 3D printers can only print an ad material, and sometimes we need to cut. So we can print and cut and print and cut and print and cut in some combinations to make the final product. So in this room is where a lot of our cutting tools are. So each one of these tools that we're kind of walking by here quickly is a computer controlled tool, so like a robot that can cut the materials exactly the way we need it. And each tool, just like the microscopes, are specialized in the different ways they can cut. So as a scientist, you might be going between the clean room, the 3D printing lab, and the fabrication space. So here we are in front of one of the fabrication tools. This is a cutting tool. You can see Exact Cut is the name of the tool. And it uses lasers, high-powered lasers to do the cutting. Now, different materials cut different ways. So you might have experienced that, making a sandwich when you're cutting bread or cutting a tomato or chopping your lettuce. You might use different tools or techniques to cut those things. So the laser cutting tool allows us to cut into different types of materials than some of the other tools we were just walking by. And if you notice here, there's a keyboard, there's a monitor. So here we have this example all over is getting familiar with working with computers. And different tools require different software and knowledge. So right now, early on, it's just getting comfortable with the ways that you're learning it in school. And that's going to set you a foundation. So if you did come into a lab like this, when you got trained on this specific tool, you would have all the basics to jump in and learn the specifics about this one tool. Each tool has its own software. It's kind of a lot of learning. You never stop learning in life. So I think we can continue. But once the sample gets loaded into that chamber where that yellow tag is, those that handle would open it, they have to run the tool and then they come back and pick it up. And they can go upstairs to their lab while they're waiting for that part to get made. So we have this collaborative building where we have shared tools, lots of space for people to learn, whether it's a formal class or just getting together and reading over some notes and having a discussion about what you're going to do in the lab. So we're actually walking by some of our classrooms, and our classrooms are an open floor plan because we're doing all kinds of activities. So maybe a little bit different than you, but even as a 41-year-old, I spend lots of time in a classroom, whether I'm talking or sitting and learning. Now, sometimes you're in a classroom that holds 20, 30, 40 people, and sometimes you're in a large room giving a lecture. So for example, if we could have all gotten together, we might have been using what's called a conference room or a seminar room. And we have a really cool conference room, and some of the wood in the room was actually reclaimed wood. So a good amount of the architectural, like visual wood is reclaimed wood. And so when you look at the ceiling, notice the wavy nature of the ceiling, and it looks nice and it sounds nice. The acoustics are nice. And then also that window looks over a little river. We call it a mill race, and there's probably ducks in there right now. So it's just a beautiful place to work. And it allows for people to be more creative. That's what we found is when you enjoy going to work, you end up being more creative and more collaborative, happy to help other people solve their problems. So we're going to go upstairs into some labs. Now, to keep in the theme of, actually we're on the terrace first. Sorry, I thought we were going to the lab. So a terrace is a open space connected to the building outside so people can come and enjoy the weather. It's actually half covered, so we can even enjoy it during the winter months. There's some fire pits and really beautiful spaces for people to get together and collaborate. So we're now going to the lab, and this is one of the labs of many labs that we have, and we've created the collaborative, oh shoot, this is actually the Sky Bridge. Sorry. So the Sky Bridge connects the north side of campus where the Knight campus buildings are to the south side of campus, which is where the center of campus is. And this connects faculty and students from both sides of campus to the Knight campus so people can come and use all our fancy tools. Here we are in the lab where, you know, I was mentioning it's a collaborative open space. So all these desks are for the students, and upstairs are where the faculty are at. And there might be people from different labs working in the same space, sharing equipment and knowledge. So each one of these benches you can see here might be for a specific student or a couple of students on a specific project. But because lots of projects share equipment, this open floor plan really allows for easier collaboration. And that Sky Bridge is also a collaborative tool. So we're gonna later do another tour, and it's just on the other side of that bridge. So this open floor plan of lab benches, and so many of them in one space, just next to the offices of not only the students, but the faculty, allows for a lot of collaboration to occur. So this person might be waiting for their part downstairs to get done, but they have their own little bench here where they can do their final projects when everything gets finished up. So that's our Knight campus focus tour. And now we want to transition over to our CAMCOR tour. So CAMCOR is an acronym. That's a bunch of letters that sound like something, the word CAMCOR, but it actually has a deeper meaning. So CAMCOR stands for the Center for Advanced Materials Characterization in Oregon. And so I mentioned before, a lot of scientists have to see what they've made, and they can't use their own eyes to see them. So they have to use these different tools. So this space that we're going to go downstairs into is actually underneath a grass field, and there's no building on top. And the reason that is if there was a building on top, it would shake and it would cause the samples to move and you would get blurry images. So we're looking at individual atoms sometimes with these microscopes. And so any vibrations would make that impossible. So we're going to enter this underground lab, and this space is typically open to the public as well during business hours. So you can come and walk around and check it out. So we're going to do a quick walk through here, and then we're going to come back and do a little bit deeper of a dive. But on the right-hand side, we have some offices and small lab spaces. And on the left-hand side, we have large lab spaces. And we're going to come back in a second and kind of look at some of the tools in there. And each room has its own specialty, and researchers all throughout campus and even private companies are allowed to come into this space and utilize these tools for their research. So there's $40 million worth of equipment in here, and it allows the smallest labs to have access to those $40 million. So it's all about collaboration. And so when we're making these materials, we sometimes work with, chemicals. So these are what they call fume hoods that keep the scientists safe. And they've maybe gotten some recipe that they have to cook. And these are where they cook those materials up. Earlier, we were talking about these molecular sensors that can maybe test for COVID. Those would be made maybe if they required, the fumes to be taken away safely, to be made partially in these kinds of hoods. So this is kind of like where chemistry happens. And this person's actually preparing a sample that will go into a different tool later on, like I mentioned earlier. Lots of that going between spots and doing lots of different steps along the way. So they're doing some special technique in here called spin coating, where they actually lay a layer of a photosensitive material down that can later be processed. In here, we have some plasma tools, and plasma tools allow us to either remove or deposit material. So you see that glass jar, it looks kind of like gold. It's because that is gold. And people need to sometimes coat a thin layer of gold when they're making their devices. So that's where the electricity can flow through. So this is a gold deposition chamber. And this is in one of those larger rooms we walked by like 30 seconds ago on the tour. So just, we can continue on the video for a second here. We're gonna pop over here to this tool. Now this tool can also deposit gold, but it can also deposit other metals, not just gold. And different metals will conduct electricity in different ways. And by adding those different ingredients to their device that they're making in this clean room, they can get something that performs differently. So let's just think about your computer screen. It emits light, and then your camera on your computer or smartphone detects light. So they're the same, but the way the materials are brought together will either let it emit or detect light. So that's why we have all these different tools that can do slightly different things depending on the application we want. So this is a metal evaporation tool. This is the inside of it. You don't get to see the inside when it's running. So this is just what it looks like. Now, we saw a yellow room in the other video. And the reason why the room is yellow is we try to keep out all the ultraviolet light. So when you're outside, you know, you wear sunscreen, there's ultraviolet light. So we have to keep that light out in this room because this room uses machines that actually transfer images from one surface to another surface. It's called photolithography, and it's actually a really old technique, and it has its origins in printing books. And so that's why when you're learning in school, sometimes you're like, why are we learning this? It's because later on, when it gets really complicated, we need you to know that stuff already. So yeah, so this is a really new technology that uses lots of old ideas in a modern way. So this is a photolithography room where these people can make images and make the patterns that go in their circuits. So like I said, many times we can't see the stuff we're making. It's so small. So we use microscopes, and these are optical microscopes similar to the ones we were looking at earlier in the night campus, but these ones are located right next door to the lab that we were just exploring those different tools. So the scientists will go back and forth between those tools in those other rooms and this room. And as they're doing their experiments, they're constantly checking to make sure that it's running correctly, and they're collecting data and taking good notes. And so the microscope is a really powerful tool for all kinds of scientists. We have lots of microscopes. So this is just one person's sample that they're taking back and forth between those two rooms. Now, sometimes we need to see things that are smaller than an optical microscope can see. And this is where these more sophisticated pieces of equipment come into play. And for the rest of this tour, we're going to see a lot of these machines, like the one that you see on the right side of your screen. It's got all these different cables and wires, and the sample is inside of that box. And they bring electrons down, and the electrons bounce off of the sample And that allows them to see things smaller than 1/10,000th. So that's 1/10,000 times smaller than a human hair. So on the monitor on the left is actually an image of a human hair with this microscope, and they can zoom inside of that human hair and look at really, really, really small features that are maybe only 20 or 30 atoms big. So this is a really powerful microscope. And as you can see, Valerie here is controlling it with a fancy computer with all those extra keyboards. So she's a pretty masterful microscopist. She helps a lot of scientists do their work. Very collaborative here at the U of O. So this allows us to really zoom in and look at the surface of our materials. We sometimes need to take different kinds of pictures, not just the shape, but also the flavor of what the kinds of atoms are in the material. So we have all these different microscopes that allow us to taste all the different materials there are. So we have a question is there a group for LGBTQ+? There are so many groups on campus. There's groups that are very large, and there's also groups that are very small. So within the Knight Campus Graduate Internship Program, we have our own community, but they have allies within the entire campus. So I could talk about that more, but we are very proud to have support for all kinds of people. And we encourage that across campus for all kinds of different groups. I'm sure we can share more information if you'd like that later. So this is another microscope that tastes the materials, and it tells you what kind of atoms are there. So the scientists who are working in those different fume hoods, they make their samples and they bring them to this machine, and they can look at them and they can taste them in a sense, not like a human would taste them, but with these machines, they can tell where on the periodic table would these atoms come from. And that would, let them know they made what they were hoping to make. It's kind of like tasting your soup when you're cooking a soup to make sure you added all the right ingredients. But in science, we don't like to talk about people eating their science experiments. You got to stay safe. So here is a piece of equipment that measures the magnetic properties of the materials they're making. So in your computer, there's some storage, and the storage requires magnetic properties. So when the people were developing the technology for the storage in your computer, they use machines like this to make sure that what they were making was going to work in your computer for 5, 6, 7 years. So this is a fancy piece of equipment, and it requires working with machines, electronics, computers, programming, and obviously all the science that has to go behind understanding how these machines work. And this isn't something that you would need to necessarily learn in college, but after getting a bachelor's degree, it gives you a good foundation to pick one thing to really focus on. So right now in K through 12, you're getting a broad education. And even in college, it's going to be, even though you've majored in something, there's some interdisciplinary general ed, and it gives you that broad discipline to come learn these detailed things we're geeking out on now. So this is another example of a tool that uses X-rays to measure the properties of materials. And X-rays are different than electrons, and it allows you to get out of the material different kinds of information. So they explain it like this: you're kind of crashing one kind of particle into another object, and then what comes out gives you an idea of what was there in the first place. So these are ways of exploring the materials. And this here is a transmission electron microscope. So instead of bouncing off, it looks at how things go through. And this is the tool that allows us to actually, in real time, visualize where single atoms are. So if you look at that screen in the middle, the monitor on the left, those are crystals made up of maybe tens of atoms wide. And the research here is getting a nice sharp image, so zoom in. So they're using knobs on the microscope to get a nice image, and then they can zoom in and actually look at the individual atoms, and not only look at the individual atoms, but try to tell what type of atom it is. This is truly amazing piece of equipment. If you had a chemistry class, we can actually tell where on the periodic table those atoms are in these little crystals. So in the other presentation that Betsy gave, we talked about the polymers that are used in beds at Purple. And so, in Monica's testing of the materials, we want to know how stretchy it is, what happens when you compress it. And when we're doing experiments in the lab, we don't have the time, to wait 10,000 years. So this experiment here can run through the sample a lot of times very quickly to get the data they would need to simulate as if someone was sleeping on it for 10 years to see if it's still going to be working well. In this lab here is where we have the study of solar cells. So we can study how solar panels are made and how making them in different ways will result in different performances. So we want to create solar cells that last a long time and can convert a lot of light into power under different conditions. So that's what that lab was for. And this lab here is an NMR lab where chemists can measure what kinds of atoms are in their samples, but this is in liquid form. And so that little carousel, that little circle is a bunch of different liquid samples that can go into this NMR machine and tell you what kinds of atoms you have in your sample. So I want to let this video roll out here because we were at 12:01 and I want to make sure we stick to our schedule. But these NMR tools are really powerful for chemists. So thank you very much for your time today. And I see a bunch of questions just popped up, but I know we're at 12:02, so I'll let the host manage those questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful day.
You have at the night campus. And as the questions keep coming in, if you all have a few minutes, please feel free to continue answering the questions that are related to the night campus. I also have Teresa here answering questions that are general questions. But again, thank you for giving us this great insight into what exists on the other side of campus that many of us never see. And so at this time, we're going to take a very short break, 5 minutes, and then we are going to let you have an inside look at the UO libraries. And again, these tours are designed to let you see some of the great facilities, the great opportunities, things you can study, but also to learn about resources and just some of the different things you can do on campus. And then the library, you'll learn about things that are here to help you be successful and just some of the cool things that also tap into your creativity. So 5 minutes, and then we'll get started with the library tour. And if you have questions, keep putting them in the Q&A and we'll keep trying to answer them. Thank you.
Welcome to Night Library. I am Hegine Hakobian, one of the library's specialists and area study librarian for Russian, German, Scandinavian, and Slavic studies. Bari galust, voljoin, Добро пожаловать! Привет! I am greeting you in Armenian and Russian. We have many other librarians who speak Chinese, French, Japanese, Italian, and Spanish. Knight Library was built in 1935-1937. It has collections in the humanities, social sciences, music, business, maps, special collections, and more. Knight Library is the largest library on the main campus in Eugene. We have other campuses in Portland and on the coast. Knight Library welcomes and opens its doors at checkout and reserve desk. Here, the students and library visitors can check out books, DVDs, maps, and even borrow phone chargers, adapters, headphones, and more. The library-friendly staff and student employees can help you to find and borrow items. This is the place to return the borrowed items as well. And what about textbooks? Good question. Being the essential partner in universities' educational and research, public service mission, the University of Oregon Libraries provides special service to help the students to borrow textbooks and other specially assigned course materials for a short time for their studies and homework. We even have a librarian who specializes in open educational resources. These are the resources that can support the professors to teach and provide help and save the students some money. We are approaching the research and tech help desk. There are many computers with all possible programs, printers, and special scanners for the use of University of Oregon students and for the library visitors. Technical assistance is provided at technology desk. It is provided by University of Oregon students. Here at this very desk also research questions are being answered. The research assistance is provided by the University of Oregon student employee. We, the University of Oregon Libraries, are happy to be one of the largest student employers at the University of Oregon. Knight Library provides a variety of environments and spaces and numerous services to support teaching and learning. There are special study rooms in the Knight Library. Students can reserve them through our automated reservation system. Students also can look on such screens at the availability of study rooms and study without reservation. During midterm and final exams, these rooms are in high demand. We are on the second floor of the Knight Library, where reading room is located. You can read newspapers, magazines, journals, and even borrow popular books for reading in your spare time. This area is a quiet area, but there are other locations that can be used for collaboration, and talking is allowed. Please look for such areas. Tutoring and Academic Engagement Center, also known as TAEC or Tutoring Center, is located on Knight Library's 4th floor. Here, the students of the University of Oregon can get free tutoring help for writing, mathematics, social sciences, and modern languages. Any University of Oregon student is welcome to drop in or to make an appointment for getting help in their studies. University of Oregon Libraries is proving by having this TAEC Center here in the Knight Library to be one of the great partners in universities' educational, research, and public service mission. We are dedicated to creating welcoming, inclusive environment for all members of our diversity and to preserving their unique history and documents in the University of Oregon Special Collections and University Archives. Let us continue our tour and meet our outstanding librarian, Lauren Goss, who will tell you more about University of Oregon's history.
Welcome to Special Collections and University Archives. My name is Lauren Goss, and I am the Public Services Librarian for our department. I help researchers from around the world find and access our rare and unique materials. The oldest item in our collection is a cuneiform tablet from nearly 2000 BCE. We have tens of thousands of rare books, over 500,000 photographs, 5,000 architectural drawings, and nearly 4,000 collections of individuals, businesses, and organizations. We also preserve the history of the University of Oregon by documenting the administration, faculty, staff, and students. The University of Oregon is nearly 150 years old and has a lot of stories to tell. Researchers travel from around the world to visit archives to look at primary sources. These are original records or first-hand accounts of something that happened. It can be a letter, a photograph, or a diary. Primary sources are the closest thing we have to a time machine. It can transport a researcher back to a specific time or place. These snapshots of someone's life help a researcher understand and draw their own conclusions about what really happened. Archival resources are an important part of studying and doing history. Today, we will look at a few items related to the history of University of Oregon track and field. This is a scrapbook of a University of Oregon student from the 1930s named George Sharp. He grew up in Eugene and attended the University of Oregon. He also was a member of the University of Oregon track team. He kept photographs, newspaper clippings, and even hand-wrote his own interpretations of events, practices, and what it meant to be on a team. A lot of time and care went into collecting all these items and creating the scrapbook. Researchers can start to understand what was important to someone and what they felt should be kept to document their life. We have several scrapbooks from U of O alumni, and it helps researchers understand what it means to be a college student. This pair of indoor spikes was handmade by U of O track and field head coach Bill Bowerman in the early 1960s for a University of Oregon sprinter named Dave Blunt. He ran indoor meets between 1963 and 1965 on these shoes, including a 60-yard dash in 6.1 seconds, second only to a fellow U of O athlete Harry Jerome's world record of 6.0 seconds. Bowerman tailored shoes for each individual athlete and liked to experiment using different materials and construction methods. You can see the different materials on the top, the side, and even the bottom of the shoes. University of Oregon Associated Student Body created yearbooks for their students. This is a great way to see what campus was like and the lives of students. In particular, the section on the University of Oregon track and field team allows you to know who was on the team and the major events that they competed in during the year. Thanks for visiting Special Collections and University Archives. Next up, you'll meet my colleague Kate, who will teach you about the library behind the scenes.
Hi, my name is Kate Smith, and I'm the manager of the Resource Sharing Department at the University of Oregon. I am going to talk to you about some of the tools that I think everybody in our library needs to know about. These are things that can save you money and time, and I think that's pretty magical. So right behind me here, there are several of these book eye scanners. We have these located here in the main library at the Knight Library, as well as the Science Library, the Design Library, the Law Library, and at our branch in Portland as well. Most people use these to scan chapters and articles out of books and journals, but you can also use these to quickly scan documents, drawings, and even small objects. The instructions are right on the machine, and you can customize many of the settings to make your work go faster or automatically split images from open books and take high-resolution photos. It takes a top-down photo, so try to resist the urge to lean under and take a photo of your face. But I don't blame you. I myself am pretty tempted every time I walk by. You can send yourself the file right from the machine to your email, or you can save it to a USB drive. I'd also like to talk to you about some of the services we offer at the Resource Sharing Department. We're one of the most powerful tools available to you at the library. We're a team of folks standing by, ready to help you track down the most rare and unusual things in the world. Have you ever wanted your own personal research assistant or somebody to just do some of the legwork for you? The staff in the Resource Sharing Department will scan parts of physical objects like book chapters, images, and articles from all of the physical collections at the libraries, and then we will deliver that digital file to you. This service is free to U of O students, and usually we can get the thing that you need to you within a day or two. It's a great thing to remember when you physically can't get to our library. I also like to tell people that I'm involved in one of the nerdiest parts of the library that you can imagine. You probably borrow things from your local library, but did you know that libraries also lend and borrow to other libraries? It's true, and this service is called interlibrary loan or resource sharing. If we don't have it here in the U of O collection, it's a really good bet that we can find it and get it to you. We work with libraries all over the world, and as well as really tight partnerships with other Pacific Northwest colleges and universities, all through our Summit program. We also share our knowledge and resources with the world. My staff help scan and send digital files, physical books, media like DVDs and CDs, and we get these to researchers' hands all over the globe where they need them. Another thing that I'm really proud of is this service is really fast. If somebody requests an article or scan from us, we usually get that to them within a few days. If it's for a physical thing like a book, these can usually take between a couple days to about 10 days to arrive, depending on where they're traveling from. But the best part is, for U of O students, this service is nearly always free. So please remember us when you're here and doing your research. We're excited to help you get the things that you need.
Hi, and welcome to the Dream Lab. My name's Franny Gady, and I'm the Director of Digital Scholarship Services here at UO Libraries. And while the Dream Lab has some very comfortable spaces, including our sofa area, Dream is actually not a spot where you're going to be napping. Dream stands for digital research, education, and media, and those are all the sorts of things that we do here in this space. So you've probably heard a fair bit about how libraries are not just all about books anymore. And so in this space, one of the things that we're really interested in doing is helping faculty and students integrate digital kinds of technologies into their research and their teaching and their learning. We've also hosted a GIS day here, and GIS is Geographic and Information Systems, and so has to do with maps and data and how we're layering all of this information on top of each other in order to better understand the world that we live in, the choices that we're making, and what that means for our present and possibly for our future. And so for the GIS days that we've hosted in here, we've had folks from the local and state government come in, people who work in industry and technology, people from all over the state who've come to take a look at the work that we're doing here at the university. We've had all sorts of really interesting technology and maps, not necessarily looking like the kind of maps that you're used to, not just all about where in the world or the state are we, and also technology that you can actually sit and interact with and get your hands into. And so, you really think about beach erosion a different way once you have your hand in a pile of light-based sand that you can actually interact with. So the art history department helped us bring in a virtual reality exhibit about Bauhaus, which was a movement that was all about art and architecture and teaching and learning and fashion and furniture and all sorts of interesting things like that. And it was this exhibit that you could actually walk through the school that these students attended. And you know, they say that empathy is when you walk a mile in somebody's shoes. So what does that mean for virtual reality, right? And so as part of launching this exhibit, we brought in the head of the Oregon Reality Group, who talked to us a little bit about the work that they do up there in Portland, and some of what that means for you know, society and ethics and technology and all of these big issues that are facing us as a society today. And so one of the questions that she talked about that I'm still thinking about today is, you know, what does it mean for someone who hasn't walked in real life to walk in virtual reality? What does it mean to have an avatar that walks? What does that mean for you personally? What does that mean for the people that you interact with? And so that's a question that I think is just really interesting, and the sorts of questions that they grapple with up there in the Oregon Reality Group in Portland. So if you ever wanted to meet your favorite author, for one of the English classes here at UO, we were able to zoom in the author of the graphics novel that the English class was reading there. And students were able to ask all the questions that you want to know. Where do you come up with your ideas? Which came first, the pictures or the text? I love hearing about all of these kinds of questions, and they all piled around in this sofa and here at the bar, and we zoom them in right on the video camera here. And I know we're all tired to Zoom at this point, but a couple years ago it was pretty exciting. And that's one of the things that I think is really great about the Dream Lab too, is that so many of the people that we want to work with and talk to and collaborate with don't live here in Eugene or here in Oregon, but potentially across the United States or even around the world. And so this space allows us to bring them here in order to better understand what they do and what they think and what they're making. So I really love hearing about student research, which is a good thing because this is a space that lots of people like to come in to do their presentations. And we're able to record those presentations too, which is really great for a variety of reasons. For folks who aren't able to come, want to put this up in your portfolio, maybe on TikTok, never know when you're going to go viral. And so all the presentations that we have here, knowing that we're going to be on camera, we've actually set this space up in order to make it a whole lot easier. So I don't know about you, but sometimes when I get a little nervous, I'll start wandering around, doing a little bit of pacing. And so here on the floor, we've got presets for the video cameras. And all of the spaces are marked out with these blue kind of planks in the carpet. And so you know where you can walk in order to be captured by the video camera. And also, here where I'm standing at the pillar is where we have people stand when they're going to ask a remote speaker a question. This space was really designed with the idea that we'd be chatting with people all around the world in mind. So the whole idea with this space is you bring what you got. Whether it's your phone, your tablet, a laptop, whatever it is that you have with you, that's what it is that we want you to work with. And so you'll take that, we've got an adapter for you, and you'll plug it into one of these screens. You can call up whoever it is that you're collaborating with, whether it's your roommate or somebody down the street or somebody around the world. We want to meet you where you are, and that's something that I'm really passionate about in this space. The other thing is everything is flexible, everything's on wheels, right? The best idea for the Dream Lab hasn't been dreamed up yet. And so we want to make sure that we have everything that you need and all of the spaces and resources in order to dream up something really fun and exciting.
Welcome to the MAP library here in Knight Library. I'm Kathy Stroud, I'm the MAP librarian, and we have about 300,000 sheet maps here and about 1 million aerial photographs. Many of the maps are available for you to use when you come in on a per-use basis when the library is open, but the aerial photographs and some of the more fragile maps, we ask that you make an appointment. But we're more than happy to help you use these. So you may ask, why do people want to use paper maps in aerial photographs when, as my father says, everything's already been mapped and everything's online. Well, the wonderful thing about the paper maps and the aerial photographs is that they preserve a snapshot of what things were like at the time they were made. So you can find out how places have changed over time. You can locate things that have been moved or that no longer are in existence. So I've had a lot of different researchers come in and use this collection. For instance, I had a writer come in who was writing a novel set in the 1920s in Lebanon, Oregon. And they wanted to know what types of businesses would have been along Main Street at that time. So we were able to pull out some very detailed maps of Lebanon, and you can see here we've got Main Street, and you can see the individual buildings on it, and there's a barber shop and a restaurant, a grocery, a bakery, a bicycle shop, and even something called a dairy depot, a milk depot. And so they were able to find out, just get an idea of what it would be like to walk down Main Street at that time. I've also had a historian come in who was looking for, they're doing research on some events that happened during World War II in Kaliningrad, Russia. Of course, Kaliningrad has changed a lot in the last 85 years. It was completely rebuilt after the war, and plus it just boomed population-wise. So they weren't able to locate these places that had been mentioned in their resources. But we happen to have some 1930s topographic maps, very detailed, showing the major buildings in Kaliningrad in the 1930s. And so they were able to come in and use these and locate the landmarks that they had been reading about and that the people had mentioned in their diaries and their letters. So closer to home, we've got some professors here at the University of Oregon that are doing research on river change. And one of the things in our map collection, we have some very detailed topographic maps of sections of rivers in Oregon from before they were dammed. So the professors are able to use this information with older aerial photographs, newer aerial photographs, and other data to track how creating a dam on the river has changed the river. I mean, you both as far as upstream and downstream, so you can see if the erosion, the banks have changed, if there's been erosion as a result of the dam. And one of the other things that we have people do, so I've got aerial photography here of the US forests, and it goes back to the 1920s, and it can be repurposed for modern use. I'm working with someone at the Forest Service who is dealing with looking at 1930 aerial photography of an area that was burned in the 30s by a forest fire. And then after that, he's determining where the burns are and the behavior pattern of the fire. And this is an area that was burned just a couple of years ago in another fire incident. And he's looking at that behavior of that fire and comparing the two and hoping to be able to extrapolate how forest fires are acting. So this will help in the future when they're looking to fight future forest fires. Also, one of the more common uses of aerial photography we have are people are looking for change in an area and land use. And it can be a larger area or as small as a house or a lot. They'll take a time series of about one every 10 years and look at that and see how things have changed. And yes, I've done that for my house. But I did bring some examples, things that people can look at. We've got, and I have a 1944 aerial photograph of an area near Eugene, Oregon. That's a major train depot, and when you look at the photograph, you can see that the area is agricultural. There's lots of farms and orchards around it. And when you jump to the 1975 aerial photograph, you see that the area is almost completely housing development. And the few lumber yards that were along the railroad spur are there, but you've also got more industrial development. So that allows you to see how an area has changed and track its development. So I hope to see you in the map library sometime.
I'm Ann Schaefer, the Music and Dance Librarian here in Knight Library. Welcome to the Douglas Room. This is part of our music collection, and it's home to our sound recording collections and several really cool areas that support listening to music, creating music, and even editing audio. We have 4 listening stations where you can listen to vinyl records, CDs, and even cassettes. We've also got 5 computer workstations that have specialized music software on them. There's notation software that lets you compose music and make your own sheet music. There are also audio production apps that let you edit and mix your own audio recordings, as well as even make your own beats. Some of the most exciting spaces here in the Douglas Room are our audio production studios. These 2 studios have professional level equipment where you can record audio, you can add to it electronically or acoustically, and you can edit and mix it, just like a professional. We worked closely with the audio production program in the School of Music and Dance to design these spaces, but because they're in the library, anybody at U of O can use them. Let's look a little closer at what you can do in these audio production studios. We can peek in on Professor John Bologna as he teaches a workshop on how to use them.
Today, so I'm John Bologna. I'm an instructor, career instructor in the School of Music and Dance in audio production and music technology. The next 50 minutes or so, we're going to spend our time in the Knight Library audio production studios. These audio editing suites have, there are 2 rooms that are joined, physically connected, that we can use either separately, so if you're just doing mixing projects, overdubs for your variety audio projects, you can use them separately, but there's also glass and connections, so we can tie them together and treat it just like a professional recording studio where we have an ISO booth and the talent in one room and the engineer in the control room in the other. And I'm going to walk you through both of those today. How to use these rooms on your own, isolated, or joined together. They both have the same types of gear, and I want to walk you through, at least showing you 365B first, what those gear are, and then we'll hop over into 365C, and we'll go through how do we various ways of working in the studio. How do we get audio out of the speakers for mixing? How do we get a microphone connected in that space for recording and overdubs? And then how do we get the rooms connected together for our audio projects? Both rooms have the same exact gear and they're laid out in the same way. So regardless if you check out this room or you check out 365C, you're going to have the same layout, same kind of workflow that you for your projects. So we've got Dynaudio near field monitors, so you can even bring in your laptop or work on the studio computer and just start mixing. And that's kind of one of the main quick, easy ways of utilizing this space. We also have universal audio 610 tube preamps, as well as a stereo pair of distressor compressors for recording essentially servicing most of your recording needs within this space and the other 2 rooms. Also 8-channel audio interface, and then everything is accessible from this patch panel, so you never have to go in the back. Everything is accessible right here. You just need to bring in either a laptop or bring in a microphone, sit down, and you're off to the races. 25 keyboard, controller, and then a small summing mixer. Everything's exactly the same, and as you can see over here, it's a patch panel connecting this room to the other room with our nice glass so that we can kind of have an ISO booth and a control room together. Cool? We'll head over to 365C. In terms of powering up and powering down gear, mostly the speakers are left on, but when we do power them, we power off first right here. We power this on last. It's even marked. And there's essentially 3 things that we do power on. We've got our main power bar here, which is our speakers and our professional audio gear, preamps and compressors. We have our audio interface right here that we power on, and then we have our summing mixer, which takes all of our audio, routes it into here before sending it off to our near-field monitors. So there's a couple ways of getting audio out of our speakers. I bring in your laptop. You just want to come in here, listen to a mix or start mixing, listening in this near-field environment. So all we're going to do, you plop your laptop down. You've got power right here that you can plug into your computer. And then you're going to basically take this 1/8 inch headphone jack cable right here, 3.5 millimeter or 1/8 inch jack, plugs into your output of your laptop, just during the headphone output. And you're going to find on the summing mixer where it says laptop. That is essentially your knob where this is volume control. And then there is the master gain right here. So you have always 2 knobs. This is the individual laptop, and then our gain knob here going to our speakers. So just picking out, I'm going to go ahead, turn this down. Sure, we'll bring up Spotify, play something, and then as I bring up my laptop level, I'm going to start hearing speakers. One point of note is that the ideal listening position in this room is a complete triangle between these speakers right about here. We have near field first reflections with acoustic treatment in this room to help provide this as the ideal listening space right here. So just be aware that when you're working on projects, it's not really necessarily right up on the desk, but if you want it critical listening, pushing your chair, nice roller chair in the back. So that's the last thing I want to show you. If you're totally up to the eyeballs in kind of like it's been going in one ear, not the other, that is fine. That is why we have a manual for all the various tasks and common uses for this space. If you find that you want to learn more, you can always sign up and register for 476, 477, or 478, the Digital Audio Workstation Techniques sequence, where we do actually walk through this space a little bit more, and you can use it for coursework, as well as the Music 480, 481, and 482 Audio Recording Techniques course sequence, which also covers recording, and we also visit this room, and you can leverage this space for your course projects.
Thanks for stopping by the Music Library. Your final stop on this virtual tour is the Price Science Commons and Research Library, one of our 7 branch locations. There, Annie will show you some of the video games in our video game collection for students to use. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Annie Zeidman-Karpinski, one of the science librarians here at the Price Science Commons and Research Library. I wanted to tell you about our video game collection. So why does the library have a video game collection? Well, I would say that video games are a great way to tell stories, and libraries have always had stories in our collection. So because we work with the sciences, we thought that this would be a great way for folks who are interested in computer science to see what you could do with computer science, with programming, and we also wanted to make sure that people had access to them to study them as well. So for that, we have games, and we also have consoles. The trick is that if you see the console box without one of the little envelopes, that means that somebody else already has it. But we have consoles for you to take home. We have extra controllers if you already have a console, and or if you want to play with a bunch of friends. We have all of the major platforms, so you can try something you haven't tried before. And we also take requests every year, so we try to keep it up to date. The one thing that we make sure that we always have is plenty of Mario. So what you see here on the building is the zebrafish genome sequence. And this was published in a famous paper by one of the researchers here at the University of Oregon who studies zebrafish. And zebrafish are really cool because you can study them, and because they're transparent, you can see inside them. So this zebrafish genome helps us study diseases and other important things. And this is a representation of the zebrafish genome sequence that we've put on these sunscreens. And then I'm also really happy to say that we checked with the researcher and they were hung in the correct order and right side up. So always helpful. The other thing we have is a waterfall of knowledge, and it's our newest sculpture. They had to bring in forklifts to bring it up and put it in, and there's also hand-blown glass. And it's supposed to signify all of the knowledge that's coming in and helping us learn. And what's cool is that in addition to the hand-blown glass, there's also pieces of metal, and on some of the pieces of metal, they've copied people's work. One of my handouts is on there, which I love to point out to students, and I know that it's here for all of time. Thanks so much for joining us for a tour of the UO libraries. We hope someday you'll come use the spaces, technologies, and resources soon.
Thank you very much to the UO Night Library team. I apologize, I forgot to introduce a very important person that has been instrumental in getting her team together to make this presentation. Bronwyn Maxon, who's the coordinator for undergraduate engagement and instruction services. There's Bronwyn.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much. She's also been answering questions in the chat for you.
All your
And
questions.
you can always reach out if you have questions afterwards, after we finish this session. Bronwyn, was there anything you wanted to add real quickly?
I just really appreciate all the
Can't hear
great
you.
questions. Ooh, just a minute. Let's try switching here. How's that?
Okay, we may have frozen, but I just really appreciate Bronwyn and her team. Because when I was in college, libraries have always been a great source of information, but we didn't have all this great technology and collections that we saw today. And it's just another example of the great resources that are available here on campus to help you be successful.
I'm not sure if you can hear me now, but
questions, please continue to send those in.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bronwyn. Now at this time, we have one last piece. You're in middle school and you might be wondering, okay, how can I start preparing for college, and how can I go ahead and get connected to college? Well, I'm going to tell you about a couple of really great pre-college programs that exist here on the U of O campus. One is the Summer Academy to Inspire Learning, also called SAIL, and the other is the Oregon Young Scholars Program, or OYSP. So at this time, we'll tell you a little bit about SAIL.
I really didn't know where I wanted to go or what I wanted to do with my life after high school. My family's always had trouble with money, and college just never seemed to be an option for me.
I honestly just felt like I wouldn't belong at a university.
But then I found SAIL, and it turned everything around.
I felt welcome in a place that was totally new to me.
And I found the help I needed to apply for student loans and scholarships. After going through the SAIL summer program at the UO, I saw that college wasn't this big, scary idea. It was meeting amazing new people. Taking fun and interesting classes that helped me find new passions.
Making friends and pushing your limits.
Connection.
Community.
And inspiration. Because even if my future feels uncertain, I can still prepare myself for success along the way. Come join us for the SAIL summer program at the University of Oregon.
SAIL inspires me to engage with people who have different perspectives. I would have found it incredibly helpful to be a part of a program like this in high school, and I want to help ensure that others have that opportunity.
I wish I would have known about a program like SAIL when I was in high school. SAIL gives you a starting point for learning more about college, and they also help facilitate your journey there.
Thanks to the SAIL program, I entered college confidently and ready to face whatever challenges adulthood threw at me.
SAIL has the potential to change the lives of students and provide them with opportunities beyond their imagination. As a low-income student, I am extremely proud to be a part of this team and be able to give back to communities.
Having the opportunity to learn about college early on in high school was very crucial for me. SAIL becomes a family in less than a week, and the people are so wonderful that I have joined the team as a mentor. There's free resources, preparation for pre-college, and an opportunity to create a community.
The SAIL program is meaningful to me because I've had the opportunity to share my own experiences and the lessons I've learned with other passionate students. At the same time, hearing from them how excited they are to go through the college process serves as a reminder of the value of our work as mentors, and it is very rewarding to see people go from having goals to actually meeting them.
SAIL is special to me for so many reasons. I feel it to be a safe space for K-12 students to talk about their dreams and aspirations, meet friends, gain college mentors, and have all their post-high school questions answered. SAIL is really here to help.
SAIL is special to me because it allows me to be a resource and support system for individuals who may have never had that support in school. Listening to students' goals and seeing them grow as a person genuinely makes me happy. And honestly, the amount of resources SAIL makes available to students makes me wish I had it when I was in middle school and high school.
The program has connected me with some really great people, and I have learned a lot through all of the programs SAIL offers. I wish I had a program like SAIL when I was in high school, so I could have had the opportunity to have college mentors guiding me through the application process and preparing me for college.
It has given me the opportunity to grow as a person and mentor, and it's been rewarding to pass what I've learned to others. I can't think of a better experience than helping students go into higher education with all the tips and tricks we've learned along the way, so that they can have the easiest possible transition from high school to college.
Students the opportunity to grow as a person on many different levels. In my experience from being a mentor and taking on leadership roles with the program, I have been able to develop new skills that I can use on a daily basis to continue helping others. I have also found a new community whose goals and aspirations are similar to mine, and that is truly incredible.
One of our great programs. And a little bit of that one slide was a little bit outdated. So this year, SAIL will operate in August due to the World Championships being on campus. So again, you can go on their website for more information about SAIL. Next program I'd like to tell you about is the Oregon Young Scholars Program, for which I have the privilege of serving as the director of that program. Oregon Young Scholars Program will operate this year in June. And we like to consider ourselves a family. It's a 4-year college prep program. So students come in as they are graduating from the 8th grade. That is when you're first eligible to apply. And I should say that for both of these programs, as you are graduating from the 8th grade, you are eligible to apply. And our goal is to prepare you not only for higher education, but to prepare you for just being good citizens and working and serving your community. And currently our students come from Eugene, Springfield, Portland, Roseburg, Wilsonville. And then we have a separate program that we collaborate that brings students out of LA. And so here you can see just what some of our students have said that they have gotten out of being in the Oregon Young Scholars Program. So you get out of the comfort zone, try new things, and learn about being independent. How not to let people bring you down where you're trying to reach for your own success and happiness. How to think critically. I learned how to communicate, and I learned how to change my community for the better. I learned how it feels to be on a campus as a student. But there's always a great community of people if you look for it. Managing time was a big deal that I felt I learned. Preparation preparation and advancement in my classes. So that's just some of the things that students have said they've gotten out of being part of the Oregon Young Scholars Program. Okay. Fun fact, 95 to 88% of Oregon young scholars matriculate into a 2 to 4 year institution. Many have gone on to pursue advanced careers in medicine, business, education, and other fields. Others are leaders of nonprofits. And we say 95 to 98 because we will have 1 or 2 students that opt into the military, but we still say they are pursuing higher education. Okay. So our participants, we work with students who enter the program as rising freshmen in high school from underrepresented communities and will remain in the program through their senior year. You will attend a summer week on campus, currently 9 days you spend on campus, and you participate in workshops, academic cohorts. We cover everything, not just academics, but how to communicate, how to network. We have self-help, mental health and personal wellness workshops, leadership workshops. Every year it changes. But the biggest takeaway is that we become a family, and it's not only just a summer program, but we support you throughout the academic year. So everything from tutoring to outreach to quarterly meetings, just checking in and supporting you and your families. And so that we're a smaller group because we try to keep it the outreach personal. But again, if you'd like more information about that, you can also look on the Oregon Young Scholars website. And again, it's designed for students who are entering the 9th grade, and the goal is that you stay in it through your senior year in high school. And we help you learn about all of the things that are necessary to start applying to college and be successful in college. And you can see our email address there at oysp@uoregon.edu. Okay. I think we have a picture of our group. Was it up there? Okay. Okay. I think we lost a picture of our handsome group. But anyway, we have a very diverse population. And again, one of the big advantages is students coming together, learning how to live together and be with folks that they may not get a chance to be with during the school year, but also being in a very diverse environment, and it's a safe place to be. So with that, this brings us to the close of our 2022 Reach for Success program. We hope you've enjoyed what you've seen and heard today, and that you'll be inspired to ask more questions, seek more resources, and to see yourself in a college environment. I thank all of the teachers and counselors who have made this event available to your students. To all of our students, you already have a leg up on being successful because someone thinks you are important enough to learn about college access. There may be times when you will encounter people who will tell you that you can't be successful and you shouldn't even try. But I say, when someone tells you, no, you can't, seek out those who tell you, yes, you can, and they will show you how you can do it. Never stop reaching for success. And with that, I say thank you very much for those of you who are able to attend live. We will also make this available to be seen later in smaller portions. So we hope you've enjoyed what you've learned today. Feel free to reach out to us with questions. And Teresa is also putting in the chat a couple of email addresses. So if you have questions after today, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll either answer those questions for you or connect you to the folks who can. So thank you very much, and keep on reaching for success.